Chapter 346, Sun's Visit. Chapter 346, Sun's Visit. Elite Coder. Dugu Zhantian and Feng Qiubai greet His Majesty. The dignified emperor sat on the golden throne as the two bowed. The emperor waved for them to get up and asked, "You two have been supervising the esoteric debate in my stead. Tell me, what has come off of it? What surprises have cropped up?" The two nodded and Feng Qiubai took the lead. "Your Majesty, of the 6 dragons that had participated, Huangpu Qintian, Yan Bangyi, Yu Yushan and Lin Xianfeng died at Zhuofan's hands. Luo clan became the true winner." "What? That number 1 genius in Tianyu, Huangpu Qintian." The emperor was stunned. He had hoped for Zhuofan to mess with him, and that he only had a half chance of success. But then Zhuofan went all out and well beyond his duty, bringing him a wonderful piece of news. Regent estate and the other house's future was now snuffed in the cradle. At the very least, a monster like Huangpu Qintian wouldn't crop up anytime soon, and the Regent estate's power remained in check. Taking a deep breath to control the overwhelming excitement, the emperor asked, "Anything else?" He may have quelled his body's reaction, but his beard was swaying from glee. That alone was enough to see what a thrill this news had become. Feng Qiubai and Dugu Zhantian hesitated. That was the good news, and what followed was the worst news ever. "Your Majesty, in the esoteric debate, Huangpu Qintian revealed that he had a dragon vein soul. Even though the Regent estate talked its way out, I believe they are intent on drawing out the dragon souls from the Imperial family's dragon vein and rebel." "What?" The emperor slammed the armrest, glowering. "You're saying the Regent estate has grown so bold as to go after the Imperial family's dragon vein, and even had someone become the master of a dragon soul? Wait, that's not right. If Huangpu Qintian has the dragon soul, he should be under the world's protection. How can—" Feng Qiubai and Dugu Zhantian sighed. "I'm afraid your Majesty's assumptions are correct. Zhuofan is a man to be reckoned with. He killed Huangpu Qintian and subdued Dragon Vein Soul, making the world quake for 9 days. From what I saw, he is a man who can change fate." The emperor's face darkened. "You mean to tell me Zhuofan has the Dragon Soul and has now become a rightful king, by providence no less?" "Yes. But although he has providence and Dragon Soul's protection, the wielder of Dragon Vein ruling the lands has been foretold by the High Priest since 1,000 years ago. Over these years, the Parish's prediction hasn't changed. There's just one thing I am unable to clarify. If Dragon Soul's protection was providence and heaven's blessing, why did Huangpu Qintian end up getting killed? Is this a flaw in the prediction, or Zhuofan defies the heavens themselves?" Feng Qiubai was pensive. The emperor said with cold eyes, "How did Zhuofan kill him?" "Bit him to death." Dugu Zhantian reported with his head hanging. The emperor was stunned. "Bitten to death? Did he eat him?" "Your Majesty, is something wrong?" Feng Qiubai asked. What shocked the people was Zhuofan killing Huangpu Qintian, with none paying attention to how he did it. But from the emperor's reaction, it seems it held a deeper meaning. The emperor continued, "What happened afterwards? What was the reaction of the houses after Regent Estate's eldest young master died?" Regent Estate's hatred for Zhuofan ran bone deep, and when the kid returned to Dragon Cloud City, the 4 house lords besieged him. However, "What, you saved him?" The emperor eyed them. Feng Qiubai sighed. "Your Majesty, the kid has the dragon soul now, and sooner or later, will become a thorn in the Imperial family's side. Thinking about how he has done so much for us, we couldn't just kill him ourselves. So letting the Regent estate attack him was the best conclusion. That is why Marshal Dugu and myself did not interfere. However, Mad Dipper Li Jingtian did." "Mad Dipper? Wasn't he Regent estate's venerable? He went missing 6 years ago, but why did he suddenly show up to protect Zhuofan?" The emperor frowned. Feng Qiubai shook his head. "I am not clear either. All I know is that he turned his back on the Regent estate and sided with the Luo clan, becoming their elder. He also follows Zhuofan's orders to a fault." It was evident from Zhuofan's order to annihilate the Regent estate. He didn't hesitate in attacking Huangpu Tianyuan and the others. What, Regent Estate was destroyed in Dragon Cloud City? Of course not. Fang Qiubai replied at the Emperor's shock. If all the elders of Regent Estate died, the world would be in chaos, and that would only harm your majesty. That is why I stepped in. But Li Jingtian was truly strong. He has already reached peak radiant stage. All I could do was fight him to a draw. I am deeply ashamed. The Emperor's eyes shrank, incapable of believing what he was hearing. Luo clan, a third-rate clan, was actually hiding an expert that could tie with a divine dragon. Doesn't that mean the Luo clan is on the same level as the 7 houses? In fact, they are now second only to Regent Estate. In less than 10 years, that wretched clan has grown so much. In less than a decade. The Emperor sighed. Fang Qiubai and Dugu Zhantian sighed as well. The events were too astonishing. Zhuofan was incredible, capable of turning everything around. Who could turn a bunch of ants in such a short time into an elephant? Zhuofan. Taking out the paper from his sleeve, the Emperor sighed. Take a look. When the world quaked, Parish sent these words. The two read it, and after a pensive silence, they said to the Emperor, May we ask what is your Majesty's view of these words? I didn't understand at first, but listening to what transpired in Dragon Cloud City, I can guess now. The Emperor stroked his beard. The Earth Dragon points at Huangpu Qingtian, representing the Regent Estate, while the Celestial Dragon ought to be Zhuofan descending from the heavens. When the two dragons collide, the land and rivers shall each call their king. This is the most worrisome part. The world will fall into chaos, with kings appearing and Tianyu sundering. The two generals paled. If these words were true, the empire was at an impasse. Your Majesty, I may be close to the Luo clan, but for Tianyu's safety, allow me to march on Wingay City. Dugu Zhantian cupped his hands. The Emperor waved his proposal. No, know yourself and your enemy, and you shall be ever victorious. The intelligence of the Luo clan is thin. To the point that we didn't even know of Li Jingtian. It's obvious that Zhuofan is hiding deep secrets, and even if we do march on them, we can't do it without a good reason. It will only give others the chance to take advantage of the chaos. Then what shall we do, Your Majesty? Dugu Zhantian cupped his hands. The Emperor grumbled about something, then spoke with a dark face. As per our promise, inform that all of the Luo clan has to come to the Imperial capital for its reward, to receive their title as the 8 Noble House. Call upon the clans of the land and the 7 houses to bear witness to this ceremony. Fang Qiubai's eyes lit up, catching the Emperor's drift. He nodded. Your Majesty is wise. With so many experts gathered in the Imperial capital, we won't have to lift a finger, as they will tear each other apart out of hatred and vengeance. Any misfortune that befalls the Luo clan now, even if by Regent Estate's insidious hand, would have nothing coming back to us. We will even see the Luo clan's true power come to light. That's 2 birds with 1 stone. No, it may very well be possible that the Regent Estate has long been powerless to deal with the Luo clan. I only wish to see the Luo clan's power to its full extent. Ha ha ha. With a sinister laughter, the Emperor's eyes shone. 3 months later, a red light shot before Blackwind Mountain. A 7-year-old kid appeared before the mountain, looking on with a sigh. This must be Dad's home. And it even has 5th grade arrays. Not bad at all. Dad, I'm here. Open up or I'll bash my way in. The kid roared. The very next second, fog parted and Yen Fu walked out from within. Seeing the shouting kid, he was lost. Kid, where did you come from? Who told you to come here? Don't you know this is the Luo clan, the one even the 7 houses fear? I'll give you a thrashing if you keep shouting. Tch, a mere lackey is so cocky? The Luo clan's fame must be quite something. Not beneath those houses at least. The kid grinned, ignoring Yen Fu and turning to the distant Blackwind Mountain peak as he assessed. Not bad. Dad picked the perfect place with ample spiritual energy. Yen Fu's face twitched and he snapped. Brat, you dare call me a lackey? Do you know who I am, who my master is? TCH showing off and talking about your backing proves loud and clear that you are, in fact, but a lackey. Of. Yen Fu faltered, stunned speechless at the kid's flawless logic. He had gotten used to scaring others with his master's name. Even though for the last few years, he was down on his luck, but after seeing his master, he was in high spirits, back to his same old habits, but getting mocked by a kid left a bad taste in his mouth. Even more so when the kid made perfect sense. Everywhere he went he'd show off his backing like a true lackey. As if he was afraid of getting a thrashing. Yen Fu sighed in the end. Out with it, brat, what do you want? I've come for someone. Who? My dad, Xuanji. The kid stuck out his chin. Chapter 347, Monstrous Father and Son Duo. Chapter 347, Monstrous Father and Son Duo. Elite Coder. What? Gasping, Yen Fu stammered. Who did you say you were here for again? Xuanji. And no, I mean, is Steward Xue your? Yen Fu gulped. The kid raised an eyebrow and spoke genially. My dad, why? What, Steward Xue is your dad? Only now did the words register in Yen Fu's grinding mind. He gasped with bulging eyes, Steward Xue has a child? Why didn't he say anything? The kid put on his thinking cap. He probably didn't have the time, since the two of us only recently met. An out-of-wedlock child. Yen Fu's heart was pumping at full throttle as a cryptic smile formed on his face, and he rubbed the kid's head. Little guy, wait here while I get your dad. The kid flicked Yen Fu's hand off. Listen, bud, I hate it when people touch my head. If not for being one of Dad's men, I'd pummel you into the ground and leave you to the wolves. Shivering, words left Yen Fu. The kid was so tiny yet packed a mean attitude, threatening him left and right. Just like Steward Xue. He now somewhat believed that the two were related. They were just too similar. Not to mention the kid sure was mighty. His hand was still stinging SSS. Gasping, Yen Fu cradled his inflamed hand and darted inside to report. This is breaking news. Xuanji's love child is at the door. In a jiffy, a stream of people rushed down the mountain, with Luo Yunchang in lead. The report had her thunderstruck, freezing on the spot. She should have known Xuanji had other girls out there besides Chu Qingqing and Ninger. With a child no less. That was the last straw. You damn player, once I get to the bottom of this, you're dead. Raging like a volcano, Luo Yunchang stormed down the mountain, along with Xue Qingjian, Qiu Yanhai, Captain Pang and many more joining the bustle. They were looking forward to meet their steward's son. With such an attitude, his child ought not to be as fiendish as his dad, no? But when they arrived, the kid looked so cute and bright, everyone just wanted to hug him. I didn't think the steward's son would be so adorable. His mother must be gorgeous. Xue Qingjian's maternal instinct kicked in high gear. Luo Yunchang's mood only sank, mirthless. But seeing the kid, she squeezed a smile as she asked, Little guy, is your dad really our Steward Xuanji? Mind telling me your name? Are you calling me a liar? You rude bint, I've come to see my dad. You all better not stand in my way and take me to him, now. The kid snapped. Luo Yunchang's face twitched. That was a first, for a kid to call her a bint. The others were having a blast and broke out in laughter. Yen Song sized the kid and said, The child may be young, but quite spirited. His tone is just like Steward Xue's, as brash and egotistical. We no longer have to fear the Luo clan's decline. We even have the next steward, ha ha ha. Yen Song laughed, rubbing the kid's hair, but the kid's brow shivered and his face looked positively dark. Elder Yen is right. I find the kid clever, and with Steward Xue's teachings, we will have endless generations of stronger and stronger geniuses. Come, call me Uncle Pang. Captain Pang laughed, getting his turn to ruffle the kid's head, who only glowered, but the crowd hardly noticed or cared. A child was getting teased by adult. What could he do other than bear it? And so, after the second came the third, and on it went. Everyone rubbed his head and teased him. But the child's only reaction was an increasingly darker face. The last straw was when Qiu Yanhai came over laughing. But before he could speak, the kid flung his hand off and snapped, "I told you not to touch my head. Take me to see my father." "Oh my, he's pouting, ha ha ha!" The spitting image of Steward Zhua. Qiu Yanhai laughed, further aggravating the kid by rubbing his head again. "You twerp, you are so young yet have such fire in you, just like your old man. A shame you don't have his strength. Look, I'm touching your head. What are you gonna do about it? I can't mess with your dad, so why don't I mess with you? Ha ha ha." Qiu Yanhai toyed with him until the kid's face was practically throbbing with rage. Shui Qinjian poured more oil. "Geezer, stop poking him. He is only a child. Worry about when his dad finds out that we teased his son and he'll come toy with us. Ha ha ha, what's there to fear? Steward Zhua is in seclusion to nurse his wounds. He won't be coming out soon. A child's memory is like a fish anyway, gone the next day. He won't remember, right twerp?" Qiu Yanhai smirked. The kid snorted. "Quite right. I don't have a good memory. Because anybody that pisses me off, I'll make sure to deal with them on the spot." With a bang, the kid's tiny hand clamped on Qiu Yanhai's wrist like a vice. Qiu Yanhai felt his wrist about to break, impaled. Nothing he did could get him out of the hold. Only now did he realize that the kid was more than he seemed, way more. While others were still blissfully oblivious, the kid's eyes left him cold and shivering. "I don't need Dad for help. I'll let you have a taste myself." The kid flung Qiu Yanhai, under the bug-eyed crowd, smack into the ground. Boom! Qiu Yanhai cracked the earth, the gap extending farther and farther. In a blink, it crossed a whole mile and passed into Wingei's city. Rumble. No one could believe their eyes as to how Wingei's city was suddenly sporting a bottomless gap. Qiu Yanhai coughed blood, filled with shock. What kind of monster is he? How does he have so much power to wound an 8th-layer radiant stage expert just like that? He had never imagined the kid would be so freakish. The rest went slack-jawed, with eyes wide as saucers. This 7-year-old scamp had the power to kill a radiant stage expert in one blow. Oh, what the hell? The people gulped from shock. That's Zhuofan's kid all right. Neither of them is normal, but monsters. With the son even more outrageous than the father. Luo Yunchang forgot about her jealousy then and there. She stared at the previously adorable kid with raw fear. Letting go of Qiu Yanhai, the kid tended to his hair and mocked, "Geezer, know what's good for you. If not for you being under my dad, I'd have snapped your twig of a body in two. Humph, try touching me again and see where that gets you." Qiu Yanhai felt like crying. He, a radiant stage expert and an elder, was manhandled like a child, by a child. The others looked startled and their hands shivered. Who among them hadn't touched the kid's head? It was just Elder Qiu's rotten luck to do it last. If it were them, their entire skeleton would be dust by now. The crowd looked at the kid with even more fear, yet no less amazement. Zhuofan was a monster, but that didn't guarantee his son would be one too. At least not a freak of nature like this one. A holy hell. A 7-year-old kid can shoot down a radiant stage expert in one blow. How are the rest of us supposed to survive? Tears began to well in their hearts. Enough wasting time. Take me to my father. The kid spoke with pride after that little display. This time, the people were amiable enough to nod, and led the way. Shivering, the kid held his head high, strutting before them as he walked into the Luo clan's manor. Just then, 5 figures appeared, Li Jingtian and the 4 scheming demons. Seeing Luo Yunchang and the rest, Li Jingtian asked, "What's wrong? What was all the commotion outside?" The faces of everyone sank as they pointed at the kid. Li Jingtian merely looked at him and became a blundering, shivering mess. "I invincible scamp Gu Santong. What in God's name are you doing here?" Chapter 348, I want to use the Qilin leg. Chapter 348, I want to use the Qilin leg. Elite Coder. Ah. It's that little monster, he just won't leave us alone. The 4 scheming demons hugged their heads and rolled on the ground in fear, and everyone went speechless. This was a first for all, seeing Mad Dipper frantic and the 4 fearless pygmies scurrying around like headless chickens. Then again, the power this kid showed was almost out of this world. Elderly, you know this child? Luo Yunchang asked with a trembling lip. Li Jingtian looked oddly at her. See, child? Young miss, he may be a child to you, but to us, he is the oldest monster. Just 300 years ago, he threw Tianyu into chaos and defeated everyone. And now he is the strongest divine dragon of the Imperial family, invincible scamp Gu Santong. We won't even be able to scratch him with all of us working together. What a shocker! All eyes on Gu Santong were now full of fear. Who could have seen that coming? Certainly not them. That a sweet child could be such an abomination. Qiu Yanhai was the most bitter. Glancing at the adorable Gu Santong, he felt like crying. If he had known the kid was a centuries-old freak, he wouldn't even get near him. Everyone was now trying to make sense of what this force of nature was doing coming to the Luo clan. But isn't he Zhuofan's son? How can he be 300 years old? Luo Yunchang was skeptical. Li Jingtian looked puzzled as well. Who told you that? He did. And the crowd had spoken, pointing at Gu Santong. Now it is Li Jingtian's turn to be floored. He looked at Gu Santong's genial face, filled with doubt. All the renowned experts cared about the world's view of them, and Gu Santong was no different. What possible reason would this almighty expert have to lower himself and say he was some guy's son? The non-committal Gu Santong had clearly admitted it to be the truth, leaving Li Jingtian even more confused. Where's Dad? Take me to him. Gu Santong said. Li Jingtian hesitated but nodded in the end. Wait a moment while I inform him. It wasn't long before he was back, but this time with an even odder look for Gu Santong. Steward Zhuo asked everyone and the child to come inside. Those words were enough for everyone to see that Zhuo Fan was indeed Gu Santong's dad. There would be no point for elderly to call him child otherwise, yet nobody had a clue about how a worldly expert, Tianyu's strongest divine dragon, ended up as his son. One thing was certain though, they saw Zhuofan's handiwork in a whole new light. Only he could make this possible. Walking in a single file, they all marched into the Luo clan's main hall. Zhuofan was already seated with a bright smile. Young Sanzi, it's been ages. Dad! Gu Santong skipped cheerfully in Zhuofan's arms. He didn't look like a 300-year-old monster to anyone, just a sweet child. But the instant he saw Zhuofan's empty right sleeve, his eyes snapped. Dad, your right hand. Who did this to you? I'll kill them all. No need, I've already handled it. Zhuofan shook his head. With Tianyu's factions in a delicate balance, he didn't want Gu Santong to be the spark that blew everything sky high and affected his plan. And what are you doing here? It can't be that you're here just to see little old me. Zhuofan switched topics with a smile. Gu Santong nodded. I came to give the Luo clan a decree. For the Luo clan's exemplary performance in esoteric debate, 3 months from now, the Emperor will bestow upon it the title of 8th noble house in the Imperial capital, in front of the clans of Tianyu. All heads of the clans and houses will be there to celebrate. A what? Everyone was stunned. Who would have thought the Imperial family would hold up their word so fast? But it also worried them. Zhuofan had the dragon vein soul, and the Emperor's attitude would definitely change towards them. But by giving them a title in such a grand style, while also inviting every clan, was there a hidden agenda that might affect the Luo clan? Zhuofan squinted, but smiled in the end. Ha ha ha, I see. Now I know that you've come to give me this information. Thanks, young Sanzi. And how have they been treating you in the Imperial Palace? Do they feed you well? Gu Santong's glee was replaced with heartache. Don't remind me. Those stingy creeps only know to give me first and second-grade ingredient. Ever since I ate Dad's high-grade ingredients, those low ones seem stale. Ha ha ha, then why don't you stay here for a little while and live it up like a young master? Laughing, Xuefan presented an ingredient rich in spiritual energy. Gu Santong perked up on the spot. 8th grade ingredient. For me? Of course. What's mine is yours. Xuefan pushed the ingredient to a cheerful Gu Santong at the side. Yen Song's heart was bleeding. That's an 8th grade ingredient. With the secret alchemy art Xuefan had taught him, he might even be able to refine a 9th grade pill with that ingredient. Giving it away just like that is such a waste. But the pain had only just begun. Xuefan waved Yen Song over. Elder Yen, my son will be staying with us for a few days. He just loves ingredients. For every meal, you have to give him at least one 6th grade ingredient. Got it? Face twitching, alchemist Yen Song's poor heart was at its limit, but since Xuefan had commanded it, he could only suck it up and nod. Gu Santong was ecstatic, hugging his neck and kissing him. You're the best dad in the whole world. All of this happened before a mute audience. Where did the fiendish monster go? In front of Xuefan, he was nothing but a cute 7-year-old. All right. Xuefan waved, telling Gu Santong to get down as his face turned serious. Young Sanzi, there's something I must talk to you about. Perhaps you won't agree, but I must ask. Gu Santong cocked his head Xuefan's side and said, Young Sanzi, I want to use the Qilin leg. What? Gu Santong cried, I know, it is very dear to you, and I never intended to do this either. But now I have no choice. His eyes trailed to his empty right sleeve as he continued, If you don't agree, I'll have no choice but to force you to take it from me or make you agree and have you resent me forever. Raising his arm, his thunder ring flashed as he looked Gu Santong straight in the eye. He knew how important the Qilin leg was to Gu Santong. It was his elder's remains that he treasured greatly. If he had just used it without even telling Gu Santong, there would always be a wall between them. It might even break off their relationship. Gu Santong's first godfather was a scholar, who taught him to repay gratitude in kind. Before he made this request, Xuefan had first dumped a pile of ingredients in this kid's lap, earning a few brownie points coupled with the statement, What's mine is yours. Sharing the profits, forcing a great battle to take place in Gu Santong's heart. Xuefan treated him like his kin, but to avoid any arguments in the future, he still came out clean to make Gu Santong give him the Qilin leg willingly. Xuefan held his breath as he watched him. Gu Santong was silent for a long time before nodding. If it were anyone else, I'd definitely refuse. But like Dad just said, what's mine is yours. Ha ha ha, oh son! Xuefan laughed, hugging him tighter and kissing him twice until Gu Santong giggled. The people in the hall sighed. Steward Zhuo was a true miracle worker to get so close with that little monster. They were no different from true father and son, not to mention this monstrous duo would one day take the empire by the storm with no one to stop them. Everyone could practically see the two go on a rampage and the Luo clan entering into an era of prosperity at the top. It was the right choice to come over to the Luo clan's side. Was the unanimous sentiment. Only Luo Yunchang didn't care much for interests, feeling her heart swell at the touching reunion. Xuefan is no longer lonely. Xuefan and Gu Santong chatted for a while, and then Xuefan took him to have his fill of ingredient, especially high-grade ones. These were all taken from that 6th-grade spiritual beast's cave back in Beast King Mountain. Their amount was neither plenty nor few to start with. Yen Song was the alchemy house elder and was ecstatic at seeing them the first time, but now he had to watch them get stuffed down Gu Santong's gullet. In no time at all, almost none were left, much to the misery of the old man. Not that Xuefan cared. As long as he could use the Qilin leg while Gu Santong agreed, he took it as a bargain. As for the ingredients, they were merely worldly possessions, nothing compared to the Qilin leg and the ongoing relationship he had with Gu Santong. 2 weeks later, Gu Santong's time was up and he had to leave, despite his reluctance. But before he left, Xuefan gave him a pile of ingredients as snacks, making the separation somewhat bearable. When Gu Santong was gone, Luo Yunchang and the rest were preparing to leave as well, for the Imperial capital. But Xuefan wasn't coming with them. He was almost completely healed, and what was left was to deal with his severed right arm. Then he would be reborn, with newfound power coursing through his veins tens of times greater than before. Chapter 349 Qilin Arm. Chapter 349 Qilin Arm. Elite Coder. Elderly, the safety of young Miss will be your responsibility on your way to the Imperial capital. Myself and the other elders will meet you later. At the foot of Blackwind Mountain, Xuefan patted Li Jingtian's shoulder. Li Jingtian nodded. Xuefan let out a relaxed chuckle and left a few instructions for the rest before sending them off. He was letting Li Jingtian go on this trip to the Imperial capital out of fear that the other houses might harbor evil plans in that regard. The tough and loyal Li Jingtian was the best choice when they were gone from his sight. Xuefan took Xuanji, Yen Song and the 4 scheming demons back to Blackwind Mountain. They soon arrived before the familiar misty forest. Xuefan said, "I will enter seclusion for a few days, and you must protect me. No one is allowed entry into Blackwind Mountain's surroundings. Is that clear?" "Crystal." They all cupped their hands. Xuefan relaxed and vanished among the fog. The rest assumed their role and guarded Blackwind Mountain from all directions. After arriving at a wide clearing, Xuefan found it adequate and began to carve a familiar body refining array. The only difference was that this array was a great deal larger when finished. Xuefan's hand flashed, and he inserted tens of thousands of spirit stones into the array core with a wave. With a boom, a pillar suddenly shot for the clouds. This was the same Qilin leg he obtained from the Lightning Canyon, the one he was planning to make his new right arm from, but the effort to convert a sacred beast's leg into a human's arm was far too difficult. The scale of the Qilin leg alone posed a huge problem. Luckily, he had come prepared. With the shaping spring he got from Beast King Mountain, this problem was solved by itself. Shaping Spring's mystical ability would turn the Qilin leg into a human's arm and safely replace his lost limb. He had had this idea since the first time he heard of Shaping Spring. But because of the dangers involved, he had vetoed it. Yet the fight with Huangpu Qingtian had taught him to steel himself and throw away any hesitation. "It's just a hand, how hard can it be?" Grinning, Xuefan sighed. "Oh, when the going gets tough, the tough gets going." Xuefan flew atop the Qilin leg and poured the Shaping Spring all over it. He then slowly floated back down, stepped out of the array and made a hand sign. A tremendous boom echoed, and the array exploded with light. Even the thick fog found it hard to conceal it. The elders outside were stunned in the dark about Xuefan's plan. Then the Qilin leg released a bloody glow echoing the array's own light. It trembled and crackled with lightning. At the same time, the white liquid on its surface slowly seeped in. It wasn't long before all of it was absorbed. Squinting, Xuefan capitalized on the timing and changed his hand sign. "Heaven and Earth's sacred power shifts yin and yang. The Qilin leg will turn into an arm. All shall be fused as one, and the sacred arm will break the heavens." It started off with a buzz. The array released a ripple from its center, and the Qilin leg never stopped shaking. It reached the magnitude of an earthquake as even the surrounding mountains started rumbling, including Blackwind Mountain. Not even the 4 5th-grade arrays could take the strain when rocks fell everywhere. Qiu Yanhai, Xue Qingjian, and the rest of the elder contingency were overwhelmed. What is Steward Zhua doing? Is he going to wreck his own clan's foundation? The 4 scheming demons wailed as they panicked all over the place. The sky is falling. Only Xuefan was stirred, seeing the Qilin leg shrink by half in a blink. The body refining array from the 9 Serenities' secret records was truly something to be able to refine even a sacred beast. The next part was crucial, fusing the sacred arm. Success would be achieved only when the Qilin leg would calmly rest below his right shoulder. Or all of this effort would go to waste. I hope there won't be a rejection. This is, after all, the sacred leg from the mighty Qilin. Squinting, Xuefan took a deep breath and focused on the shrinking red pillar. Once it was the size of an arm, he shouted and jumped inside the array. Ah! A wail of agony similar to the one in the All-Beast mountain range echoed. Xuefan felt his body disintegrate under the onslaught of the thunderstorm within the array. What made it worse was that this pain was 100 times more excruciating than last time. Last time the array size was much smaller, and he had only used diamond sand and a 6th-level spiritual beast's wings. But this time, he thirsted to make the mighty Qilin's leg his arm, weighting the price and the benefits of having it rest below his shoulder. He found it more than worth it, but not for the life of him did Xuefan expect to endure such agony. Watching his body chipping away, his flesh splashing onto the array, Xuefan's eyes widened with pain, ready to explode. This pain went beyond the conceivable realm. The last refining was but a bug bite by comparison, but Xuefan held fast. The last time, he had done it for Ninger, while this time he was doing it for everyone, so that Ninger misfortune would never repeat itself. Howling at the sky, the elders outside freaked out. They watched the misty forest with concern. Steward Zhua, just what cultivation method are you practicing to make even a tenacious demon like you scream at the top of his lungs? In the array, Xuefan's flesh floated about and even his organs were gone. All that was left was his skeleton and his trembling eyes. Xuefan would have been long dead by now in these circumstances, but within the array, his life force didn't scatter. The Qilin leg released a bloody glow and Xuefan's pieces of flesh flew around it and bathed in the red glow before shooting for his body and reforging it. With a long sigh, Xuefan's heart eased. It's finally combining. This meant that the refining was nearing its end, bringing him one step closer to success. His thinking was quite logical. When the body was reformed, the refining would end, although he didn't take into account the fact that the target of his refining was a sacred beast whoosh. The flying flesh reformed on Xuefan's skeleton and released a pale red glow, with only the right arm missing from its place, and then the Qilin leg floated over, slowly approaching his shoulder to fuse. He didn't get to rejoice though, as a heaven-shaking howl announced the trembling of the Qilin leg. A red glow flashed from the leg and pierced his brain. Xuefan blanked out for a second and felt his head splitting, about to explode. A bellow like that of a savage beast tore through the deepest corners of his mind and knocked him out. I failed. Sighing in his heart, this was his last thought before he passed out cold. A blood-red Qilin was roaring in his soul, wanting to tear the place apart. A mere human dares to covet my sacred body? You are judged unworthy. Roar. While the Qilin was having a literal blast in the depths of his soul, a dragon roar came from within Xuefan's body. The dragon-veined soul charged at the Qilin. Xuefan was now its master and its duty was to protect him. It was aware that it was no match for the Qilin, but it was going to try and protect Xuefan with its life. The Qilin only had disdain for the dragon soul. Humph, if you were a celestial dragon, I would have graced you with a strike. But a tiny earth dragon dares to bar my path? The Qilin lifted its leg and stomped on the dragon's soul. Bam! The dragon's soul was kicked out of Xuefan's soul and back into his dantian with the face of a kicked puppy. Master, I did my best, but it just wasn't enough. Ha ha ha, a snail dares contend with me? Die. The Qilin cackled and raved at the surrounding darkness. Ha ha ha, this human brat has some nerve. See how I'll tear your soul to smithereens. It didn't get the chance though, as a sharp cry announced the pain in his back. A huge bird made of azure flame clawed at the tough Qilin's back. Qilin looked back in shock. You? Yes, old partner, I've chosen this kid and one day he will return our help manyfold. You have long since died, and removing this grief from your soul will be for the best. The huge azure fire bird exploded into flames and swallowed the Qilin. With a tightening of its claws, the Qilin vanished in a red glow. Then, the huge azure fire bird vanished as well. Only then did Xuefan's ever-throbbing right arm, the Qilin leg, finally became still as it began to fuse with his body. Chapter 350 Comprehensive Advancement. Chapter 350 Comprehensive Advancement. I wasn't devoured. After a long time, Xuefan opened his eyes and saw the clear blue sky when the Qilin leg connected to his shoulder. He felt a terrible resentment tearing at his soul, but what had him shocked was that a mere Qilin leg, dead for God knows how long, was still bearing such strong resentment as it came from a sacred beast. The magnitude was amplified. It had instantly cut off his consciousness before he could even cry for help. The last thought that went through his mind was a lament for having failed it. All the sacred beast's resentment pierced his soul, yet it didn't get destroyed. How am I still alive? Did the Qilin resentment turn noble and let me off? Even he found that impossible. Resentment was a mass of rage. How could it develop a conscience? Xuefan just couldn't make heads or tails of it. He shook his head in the end, crawling to his feet. Then he realized he had done that with his right arm. He looked at his right hand in shock, and a glowing red arm entered his eyes. The refining succeeded. He had turned the Qilin leg into a sky-piercing Qilin arm. Overjoyed, Xuefan took in all the details of his new arm, yet it wasn't one bit different from his other arm. But when he moved his fingers, he could feel the space itself vibrate. The power behind his right arm was just as freaky as Gu Santong's. Xuefan was confident that no one in Tianyu could match this arm of his. He wouldn't balk even against Gu Santong's attacks. Xuefan was ecstatic and jumped in glee. But he could only jump to 1,000 feet of height above the mist. Xuefan had forgotten that he had lost his wings and couldn't fly as a bone-tempering expert. So why was he still hovering here? I have advanced. Xuefan checked his cultivation in a rush. Sure enough, the refining had jumped his cultivation into the third layer of profound heaven stage. Not to mention the dragon soul's power within him had already fused with him and brought his body to a new level through the dragon power tempering, and with the dragon soul within him, the power in his body shot had through the roof. Not even Huangpu Qingtian could match him now, and that wasn't even half of it. He found with great delight that Blood Infant had advanced as well. It had broken the shackles and advanced into the profound heaven stage. The profound heaven stage Blood Infant's speed had reached an unprecedented level. Not even a discerning field could catch up to it. Squinting, Xuefan flexed his mind. Whoosh! A red glow flew out of him, took a tour of Blackwind Mountain's surroundings for 100 miles, and was back inside in the blink of an eye at the core of Blackwind Mountain, watching over the arrays. Xue Qingjian and Qiu Yanhai were cultivating with closed eyes when they felt a chill pass through them. Old hag, did you feel that? Qiu Yanhai's eyes trembled. Xue Qingjian nodded and gulped, as if something passed by. But why couldn't I sense it? It's all based on my instinct. You too. Gasping, Qiu Yanhai's aged face shuddered. Then it mustn't have been just a coincidence. I felt the same. But why? Is there anything in this world that can fly past our divine sense without getting detected? If not for the instincts we honed through battles for a century, we wouldn't have felt the danger either. Yeah, just what was that? If it was a human, how dreadful would he be? We could never hope to reach him. Qiu Yanhai sighed, scratching his head. I only hope he has no ill will towards the Luo clan. In another area, the 4 scheming demons were on duty, to fend off anyone going into the misty forest where Xuefan lay. But were these pygmies that bored? It didn't take 15 minutes before they were back to squabbling and fighting. And they had kept at it all this time. Whoosh! When the red glow flashed by, the 4 pygmies stopped mid-swing. Bro, did something pass by just now? Sly Demon frowned. Violent Demon's Punch faltered, his eyes roaming about. No way. What could possibly pass us 4 heroic demons without so much as a sound? Such a thing doesn't exist in this world. Yeah, there's absolutely no way. Wimp Demon shook his head. The other 2 paused for a second before doing the same. That settles it. Now, where were we? Violent Demon swung his hand with a grin. Sly Demon said, you were about to punch my face. Bam! And that was what Violent Demon did, smacking Sly Demon's nose. Ha ha ha, now I remember. I really wanted to bash your face in. Sly Demon returned blows, of course, right at Violent Demon's head. Thus, the four resumed their ever-bustling bonding, but just then, Xuefan's dignified voice came from above Blackwind Mountain. "Elders, come to the misty forest." Steward Zhuo was out. Xue Qingjian and Qiu Yanhai rushed post-haste. Yen Song came out of the alchemy house as well. Flying to the forest, the four scheming demons stopped their sharing tough love and gathered at Misty Forest soon. All of the Luo clan's elders were watching the forest. Xuefan walked out of the bloody fog and nodded. The elders saw that Xuefan didn't only recover his arm, but had also reached the third layer of Profound Heaven stage, leaping 4 layers in just 1 month. His speed was faster than a rocket. Monster! The word was on everyone's lips. How could Huangpu Qingtian possibly compare? He was just a novice. Xuefan smiled. "How long was I away?" "A month." Yen Song bowed, nodding pleasantly. Xuefan said, "Perfect, I just let my demonic creature check your situation. You've done well this month." "What, it was you just now?" Xue Qingjian cried out. "What is that demonic creature that moves so fast?" "Ha ha ha, I have many more tricks up my sleeve. You will get to see them in time." Xuefan replied with a vague smile, which only made the others more baffled. Just how many tricks is Steward Xuefan hiding to catch everyone off guard? Truly frightening. Even though they were radiant stage experts, they were like kittens in front of a tiger when Xuefan was around. From what I saw, that was a quick reaction. "Elder Qiu and Elder Xue, you're quite sharp. Elder Yen is still in Profound Heaven stage, so it's fine, and he is quite dedicated to alchemy too. Only you four, what the hell is wrong, you shits?" Xuefan's smile turned demonic as he glared. "I told you to defend this place, yet all you do is squabble. Talk, how should I punish your negligence of duty?" Shuddering, the four put on hurt looks and sync. Steward Zhuo, anything but the bloodworms. Any other punishment is fine. How about you beat us up?" Sly Demon pleaded, raising an eyebrow. Xuefan laughed. "You must be thinking I can't hurt you to ask for that, right? Fine, we'll do it your way. I'll beat you, silly." The four were ecstatic with Xuefan's tiny cultivation in comparison to theirs. In the 6th layer of Profound Heaven stage, he couldn't even make it sting. As long as the bloodworms were out of the picture, even standing there and taking Xuefan's hits, they figured Xuefan's fist would be the one hurting in the end. The four showed crafty smiles. Xuefan didn't mind, merely eyeing them coldly as he spread his arms. "Take your pick, left or right." "Ha ha ha, whichever you wish." Violent Demon laughed nonchalantly with a snicker. Xuefan stretched out his left arm and said, "Left it is, so I won't beat you to death and waste all the effort dumped into you the past 5 years. Transformation!" Xuefan roared in his mind. Chapter 351 Two Beast Fists. Chapter 351 Two Beast Fists. Roar! A dragon roar reverberated, and Xuefan's face turned more and more savage as his left arm released a golden glow, and a dragon image flowed along it. Constant snapping sounds were heard, and his skin actually transformed into dragon scales. Lastly, his entire hand turned into a dragon claw. A mere twitch of his fingers was enough to tell you how sharp they were as they whistled through the air. "Earth Dragon Claw," Xuefan said. He turned his vicious eyes at the 4 scared cats and said, "Over the last month, I've trained to integrate with the dragon vein soul. So transforming goes without saying, ha ha ha." Then he swung his claw at the ground. Boom! A yellow glow flashed, and a glowing arc split the ground on the spot. It passed through everything, snapping things in two. Not even the mountains were spared. It went strong for the better part of a mile. Before the yellow wave attack vanished, everyone watched on in shock. Xuefan cultivated for just 1 month, and he came out not only layers above, but even his body was monstrous now. Even the renowned body cultivators in the Radiant stage would be reduced to pieces under that claw. They all watched Xuefan with dread. Now even if he didn't use the bloodworms, he could still put them in their place. Not that they dared mess with him to begin with. Xuefan's body strength far exceeded theirs. "Abominable 4, which one of you little shits would like to go first?" Xuefan waved the dragon claw around, like a demon archon about to hand over the sentence to some imps. The 4 scheming demons were scared to death, choking on their own words. Holy hell! Is this a joke? What's going to be left of me after that punch? They were truly regretting it now, knowing Xuefan's capacity for abnormality. Each time Steward Zhuo went into seclusion was like being born anew, coming up with new and outrageous ways to be overpowered. Case in point, Xuefan's current seclusion shot him way beyond all those present. They were totally unprepared, but now they had to roll with it. They should have seen this coming and should have dropped on their knees to beg for mercy instead. But how were they supposed to do that now? The 4 sighed, their smiles laid thick with a heavy sense of begrudging and self-deprecation. But soon, Sly Demon's eyes probed. Steward Zhuo, your Earth Dragon Claw is marvelous. I wonder though, can you do that with both hands? Only the left. Xuefan could see his thinking from a mile away, yet he didn't hide it. Sly Demon lit up and he gathered his pals around for a little bro talk. Then they came out laughing. Violent Demon puffed up his chest and stuck his chin out. Steward Zhuo, didn't you say we can choose which hand? You're a man of your word, right? But of course, though it won't change anything. Xuefan smiled. So I decided to use the left in dishing out your punishment. No, we've changed our minds. We want the right one. Violent Demon pointed at his brand new hand with a cackle, sending a condescending gaze his way. Xuefan looked at his own right hand and shook his head. This won't end well. And why not? Come on, Steward Zhuo, you are a clan steward, your words are worth gold. You can't go saying something on one hand and do another on the other, or no one would trust you. Violent Demon urged on. Seeing him hesitate, Xuefan raised an eyebrow and smiled. Oh, reverse psychology. Not bad at all. Alright, we'll do it your way. Here comes my right. The 4 rejoiced, with Wimp Demon even giving a thumbs up and sucking up to his bro. That's our bro, insightful and glib. He has just received that arm and hasn't practiced using it yet. It must be the weakest. It will snap like a twig the instant it touches us. Good going, bro. Dang right, or I ain't your eldest bro. Violent Demon stuck out his chin. Sly Demon was annoyed and backhanded Wimp Demon. Cut the bull, that was my idea. Whose ass are you kissing? By all rights you should be kissing mine. Wimp Demon looked aggrieved with that red face. Violent Demon was growing irate and backhanded Sly Demon too. You're the bullshitting one. I'm the eldest bro. Without my wise leadership you'd never come up with this plan. All credit goes to me. You're the one bullshitting. I said it first. It was my idea. Why should you take credit? Sly Demon was pissed off and started throwing punches at Violent Demon. The other 2 demons were cheering, but it wasn't long before they joined in for a much-needed bonding, and so, 4 little demons played their little act per usual. Same old, the elders having front-row seats of the spectacle had brooding moods. These little shits are a lost cause. They've already forgotten why Steward Zhuo was angry, why he was punishing them. They were going at it right in front of him, like everything was right as rain, no harm done. Glancing over at Xuefan, everyone could see the throbbing vein on his forehead. You 4, are you ready for my fist? Xuefan's patience was running dangerously low. The 4 scheming demons weren't stopping on his account, yet they had the time to speak in unison. Don't mind us, do your thing. Knock yourself out and have your fill of punching. Despise, condescension and contempt, these 4 demons weren't buying Xuefan's bravado, thinking his right arm wasn't up to snuff. Xuefan smiled in anger and moved his hand around. Ha ha ha, you sure are experts to want so many punches. That's fine, let's give you a little taste first, shall we? Xuefan's eyes flashed with bloodthirst and he punched. Tangible projection, sky-piercing Qilin Arm. Boom! Like a flood, Xuefan's right arm shined red and swelled. His thick arm became like a giant steel wall barreling straight for the demons. That terrifying might stole the breath of even these 6th layer of radiant stage experts. Ducking their heads instinctively, whoosh. The red glow shot over the demons into the sky. Boom! Like an artillery blast, The Qilin sacred arm rumbled the space wherever it passed and pulverized everything else with the space in front of the fist, taking the brunt of the hit, warping constantly and making a 300 feet tall cliff crumble into nothing once silence sat in. All that was left in the eyes of the onlookers was desolation, and not much else. The shock was so great that they were in denial. Everyone knew Xuanji would have an outrageous power boost, but who'd have seen that one coming? Not them. That thing could crush the world. The 4 scheming demons were shivering on the spot, their faces void of blood. It was a déjà vu moment for them. Gu Santong had done the same thing. One invincible punch to crush everything. Gulping, the 4 scheming demons found it hard to look at the red pillar in the sky. They knew they had messed up and were on the verge of crying. You call that a hand? That's a pylon. The slightest touch will turn us into meat patties. I'd take the dragon claw any time, thank you very much. They blindly took Xuanji's new arm for a newborn's, when in fact it was a weapon of mass destruction. Moreover, are those the arms of a human? Gasping, Xuanji withdrew the Qilin leg back to being his arm, and nodded pleasingly. Transformation was a secret art of changing shape. That meant turning his left arm into the earth dragon claw of a sacred beast taking human form, while tangible projection meant transformation of returning to its original form. His Qilin arm looked like an arm and was tough beyond imagination, but only through this tangible projection of turning the Qilin arm back to the Qilin leg could he unleash the sky-piercing Qilin power. Yet this wasn't all the Qilin leg could do, limited as it was by his low cultivation. Had he put too much power into the blow, he'd be going down with it. But even when limited, for the whole of Tianyu, it was more than enough with the earth dragon claw on his left and the Qilin arm on his right. No enemy could contest him in Tianyu. Xuanji grinned, awfully full of himself now that he took notice of the others. Their minds had taken a vacation, it seemed, betrayed by their dumb looks. While the 4 demons were shaking like leaves with a demonic smile, Xuanji swished his right hand. You 4 said to keep him coming, right? Want another one? No, Steward Zhua, you're too awesome. We don't dare to play in front of you. How about you use the blood infant to punish us? That punch of yours will splatter us. You wouldn't want the Luo clan's last 5 years of investment to be for nothing, would you? The 4 demons' heads were pounding and snot was coming out of their noses. Xuanji smiled. Ha ha ha, you 4 just keep begging for mercy. Fine, I'll let it slide just this once, but you better get this straight. If I find you slacking on the job again, there won't be a next time. I'll flatten your heads on the spot. Steward Zhua, worry not, it won't happen again. The 4 demons shook their heads and vowed. Only then did Xuanji nodded and looked in the distance. Good. It's time we go to the Imperial capital and regroup with the others. Yes. Everyone cupped their hands as they accepted the order. Even the playful and sly demons turned respectful on the spot. Chapter 352 Imperial Capital Ceremony. Chapter 352 Imperial Capital Ceremony. Imperial Capital, the Imperial Palace's gates. There were 360 copper inlays in the 9 heavy 3-meter-tall gate. Set in the shape of macrocosmic orbit array, it was an everlasting symbol of peace, and Imperial power guards, strapped in golden armor, stood before each grand gate with grace and dignity, releasing a heavy pressure on anyone who came close. Even fresh cultivators could feel the presence of 1,000 of these profound heaven experts. The Imperial family's power had always been the strongest in Tianyu. A crowd had gathered outside these gates since the crack of dawn, now in awe of such a display of power. How long had it been since the Imperial family had held a ceremony? No one knew, since this was their first. On such occasions, delegates were to come from every clan in Tianyu, from the biggest houses to the smallest. The last time such a gathering took place was centuries ago, when everyone banded together and repelled invaders from their border. It was quite plain to see how much weight the Imperial family had attributed to the bestowal of the 8th noble house title. The Luo clan, a mere third-rate clan, was now going to be wallowing in honor. They had simply won the esoteric debate, But was it that great an achievement to have the whole of Tianyu take part in its award ceremony? Some small clans, waiting in the biting cold outside the gates, begged to differ. Why don't we get that kind of treatment? The many clans gathered before the Imperial Palace's gates were feeding the rumor mill as they discussed. Some were envious and some were in awe, but what predominated everyone was reverence. It had never happened before and the difficulty could be imagined. A third-rate clan was, in their time, entering the rank of houses and even receiving the imperial family's approval. Since a third-rate clan could be so hard-working, the other lowly clans had no reason to stagnate and contend with the status quo. Why, young master, wait! Among the tight crowd, a proud and dashing youth, wearing a scholar's hat, kept on walking even as the apprentice scholar behind him yelled. He only stopped when he reached the front of the throng of people. His eyes shining like stars, looking all around him. I'm finally out. Why, young master, we have to go back or I'll be punished. The child squeezed in front as well. Her cute and squishy face made him so adorable the young master only smiled. I've been stuck home for ages. Now that I'm out, time to have some fun. Why the hell would I go back now? This is the Imperial Palace's 8th House Award Ceremony, the event of the millennium. The last time this happened was at the Empire's founding. I want to see with my own eyes what makes this 8th house so great, so powerful to make impish, His Majesty break the 1,000-year-long convention. Looking about, assured that no one noticed his slip of the tongue, the youth stuck out his tongue and smiled. The child was even more distraught. Why, young master, you've had your fun for 4 hours already. It's time we head back, or with your temper we won't get away with a simple punishment if anything happens. Stop yapping. The young master bopped the child on the head, annoyed. You dare talk to me this way? When I get back, it's the cane for you. Then why did you bring me with you? To punish me? If anything happens to you, my life's on the line. You! The young master glared, angry. Was he that weak to not survive one hit in front of so many people? Seeing how he wanted to slip away all the time, he was just like a human trafficker. Was he that useless? His Highness the Crown Prince has arrived. With a sharp cry, a refined sedan chair entered everyone's eyes. Once it stopped, an elegant and dignified youth wearing a golden robe with 4 dragon claws on it stepped out. The purple golden guards rushed forward to steer clear the clans, forming a 3-meter-wide path. The Crown Prince walked in front towards the Imperial Palace's gate. Damn, it's eldest brother. Don't let him find us. The young master lowered his head and pulled the child into the crowd. The child could only follow. The Crown Prince suddenly stopped, then bowed to his surroundings in apology. Before the 7 houses arrive, we are unable to open the gates. I am dreadfully sorry to have everyone wait out here in the biting winds and piercing cold. Please accept my sincere apology. The Crown Prince gave a half-bow. The crowd was frantic in returning the bow. Their hearts went to him. He was such a proud and wise figure. He was sure to go places. Ha ha ha, eldest bro is making nice again. Did you earn some sympathy points? Some rather sharp and venomous words resounded. The people whipped their heads to see who dared be so crass towards Tianyu's Crown Prince. What they saw was a glum youth bearing a striking resemblance to the Crown Prince. He wore the same dragon-clawed robe, just that he only had 3. The people realized he was Crown Prince Yuan Bo's brother. Second Prince Yuan Yong. Crown Prince eyed him, coming over with a trace of anger. Second brother, what are you suggesting? Every clan in Tianyu has gathered at our great imperial capital at the invitation of the imperial family. Shouldn't I, the Crown Prince, show these people gathered here in the biting winds and piercing cold some care? Humph, a mere act. You think they're worth inviting? That was the imperial decree. They had to come. Yuan Yong sent a mocking glance to the ants. Eldest brother, how can an irresolute man and sympathizer like you be the next leader of this nation? Second brother, by treating Tianyu's people like this, how are you going to rule with justice? How are you going to earn their respect? This is why the Imperial father didn't make you Crown Prince. The Crown Prince glared. Yong's eyes were spitting fire at this point, his face barely stopping itself from exploding. Yuan Bo, don't patronize me. Based on wisdom and approaches, I'm no different from you. Isn't it all because you came into this world a year before me that you've earned such a glorious title? Isn't it because you are firstborn? Other than that, I am just as capable as you are to be Crown Prince. The Crown Prince stammered, but sighed in the end. Second brother, so this is what's been bothering you. This is why you've always looked at me with hostility since we were young. But what would you have me do? This is the work of Providence. I cannot change the world. If I could, I would have long since given my brother this Crown Prince title. Humph, sophistry. Who doesn't want to be emperor? Even that regent estate has been stirring for centuries, yet you, pansy, wish to give it up? Yong snarled, but I don't need you to hand it over. I'll take what's mine for myself. The Crown Prince looked long at him and sighed, feeling vexed. Then, a very familiar voice came with it. The people began to feel the earth throbbing. A mountain of a man, panting and sweating, was rumbling over with a thundering gait. He was sweating buckets but was mighty happy. Elder brother, second brother, it's been ages since we last saw each other. I missed you so much. He was the one, the only, Tianyu's third prince, Yuan Kong. He was a rarity in this world of cultivation filled with trained, fit bodies, one of the very few fatties. The young master hiding in the crowd and the child held their heads. Sigh, third brother, can't you sweat that fat off a little? Every time you come out, you scare everyone. I don't even want to be seen around you. Yong glanced at the tub of lard with loathing. God damn it, hasn't this pig left the Imperial capital yet? What's he doing back here? Ha ha ha, he must have finished his mission and the Imperial father had him return. With the 8th Noble House Awards ceremony of great importance, it's imperative for the third younger brother to be present as well. The Crown Prince came out with open arms and a smile. Ha ha ha, third brother, welcome back. Eldest brother. With a cry of joy, Yuan Song jumped into the Crown Prince's arms and landed with a bang at the same time. A snapping sound marked the wincing of the Crown Prince as the pavement beneath him cracked all over. Your Highness, Crown Prince. Crown Prince's guards rushed over, seeing him hugging the hulking slab of meat. I'm fine. Shaking his head, the Crown Prince put on a reassuring smile. I am a 9th-layer bone-tempering stage cultivator after all, but even I can't hug my younger brother. Crash! With another sound, Crown Prince's face paled, and he looked at his third brother with glistening eyes. Old third, did you get heavier? Just a bit. Last month I weighed 375 kilograms, but this week I'm 400. It must be all that traveling getting to me that I gained so little. Everyone's face twitched. The third prince sure is an oddball. Where can you find so much fat in the world? Oh right, eldest brother, are you okay? Yuan Song asked, seeing his brother's sweaty face with a pained smile. Crown Prince begged, third brother, could you get down first? My waist is killing me. The crowd blanked out for a whole 2 seconds. Chapter 353 Vie for Power. Chapter 353 Vie for Power. Ha ha ha, my dear third, they say Huangpu Qingtian is a monster, but I think you're the biggest monster among them all. I've seen you be constantly on the move these few years, so how come you've gained more weight instead? Yuan Yong looked at the two brothers get out of the hug and mocked the one with the creaking waist. What about you, Crown Prince? Always posing around has finally taken its toll. The Crown Prince grew angry but sighed in the end, emphasizing that the younger brother didn't understand his pain. Yuan Song glared, second brother, I know you don't like me, but leave the eldest brother out of it. Save it. I don't like you because I find that blob of yours an eyesore. Moreover, humph, it's absolutely revolting. Yuan Yong's eyes glinted with bloodthirst. Crown Prince and Yuan Song wanted to respond, but sighed instead. The young master hiding in the crowd flushed, wanting to go out there and give him an earful. Second brother is too much. Eldest brother is always modest and thinks about the good of the people. Yet my second brother is always complaining. I need to go out there and give him a piece of my mind. Young master, stop causing trouble. If anyone finds out you've sneaked out, I'll take the fall as well. The child pulled him. Just then, a cry came from the crowd. Look, Hell Valley has arrived. Everyone turned around to see a group of men in gray robes with Xuanji in the lead. He was flanked by his elders and a striking young man with stern eyes. He was Hell Valley's brightest mind, Yugiki's last disciple. Yongning. Behind them were 4 strong elders that struck fear in the hearts of others with a mere glance. A single thought from them could annihilate them all. These were Hell Valley's 4 venerables. There used to be a 5th, but that one fell in the Battle of Wingay City. This made Yuanshan's hatred for Zhuofan reach bone deep. He had not only killed so many elders but even murdered one of their venerables. The only reason they weren't marching on Wingay City to kill the Luo clan was because they knew it would be foolhardy. Who the hell cared about some Imperial family's restrictions? As weak as they were, they could only endure. Valley Lord, you, long time no see. Please forgive me for not welcoming you here in person. The Crown Prince cupped his hands. Yuanshan returned the greeting with a smile. Your Highness is too kind. Valley Lord, you, how have you been the last 3 days? Second Prince Yongning walked over with his head held high. Crown Prince's eyebrows twitched, and Yuanshan frowned as he gave a mirthless laughter. Ha ha ha, thank you Second Prince for your concern. I have been well. Oh, it's almost time for the gates to open. I am going in first to prepare. Afraid of saying more than necessary, Yuanshan came up with an excuse to extricate himself and made his way to the gates. The 9 gates had a particular importance. The 9 Dragon Guard in every major event. Tianyu's clans gathered in front of these gates, and the 9 gates opened at the same time. The Emperor walked through the middle one, while the others were reserved for the houses and princes. It displayed to the public that the 7 houses and the Imperial family were equals, with the rest of the clans following behind. This time the Emperor was about to appoint the 8th house, so of course the sealed final gate was now reserved for the Luo clan. At the time of opening, the clans making their choice of which house to follow would stand before their respective gates, but since most of the 8 houses were running late, Yuanshan saying that he was going to get ready to enter was an obvious excuse that he was avoiding them. When they arrived before a gate, Yuanshan looked back at the Second Prince in anger. That rotten bastard. Has he lost it to be so impulsive? Wasn't he clearly pointing out to everyone that there's something going on between him and us? Ha ha ha, Valley Lord, relax. If he were shrewd, our partnership would have been in danger. It's his rash attitude that makes him an excellent pawn. With a twisted smile, Yongning said. He just wanted to show off his power before the Crown Prince. Let him be. But what about our secret plans? Won't they get exposed? Yuanshan snorted. Yongning shook his head. Valley Lord, no need to be angry since it will all be revealed anyway. And in the current situation, the rest of the clans will take the same path as us. Once the Luo clan becomes the 8th house, they will turn into the last power and will turn the empire into a tripartite nation. At that time everyone will be tied down. To break the stalemate, vying for the throne will be the only option left. The side that controls the future emperor will be the one to use the Imperial family to destroy the other houses. The last step will be removing the puppet emperor and taking hold of the world. Is this what you mean by playing for the future? Yuanshan squinted. Yongning nodded. Correct. Yuanshan gasped and nodded. So even with the Second Prince being impulsive, it was this impulsive nature of his that made him grade A pawn material. As for the Crown Prince, no one could gauge him. Yuanshan was finding Yongning more trustworthy now. In another location, Crown Prince frowned at Yongning. Second brother, Imperial father has warned us not to get too close with the houses. You, Crown Prince, you are the rightful emperor, so of course you'd listen. You only need to wait for the throne to fall in your lap. But without any power behind me, how can I fight for it? I told you, I'll take everything from you, ha ha ha. Yongning cackled. Crown Prince's eyes flashed with bloodthirst, though hidden deep behind his facade. Yongning came beside the Crown Prince and grumbled, "Second brother, how can you say that? Openly going against the Imperial father's decree? I'm going to tell on you." But the sight of a certain mesmerizing beauty left him speechless. He forgot all about his brothers and ran towards her laughing. "Sister Kuei, you're here. It's been so long, did you miss me?" The two brothers were dumbstruck and sighed. "Our third brother truly is a rare fatty, a rare starry-eyed one. The girl has shot him down 108 times, yet he still can't face the music." Veiled Dragon Pavilion's detail approached. Pavilion Lord was in front, flanked by his elders, 5 venerables following them, and lastly, the younger generation. One of them, of course, was the target of young Tubby Yongning's fantasies. Long Kuei Yongning was hammering the earth with each step, barreling onward like an out-of-control mountain. After a quick hide along Yifi and the rest, he went along Kuei's side, making her sick. This guy got even fatter. He's inhuman. "Ha ha ha, Sister Kuei, have you been well?" Yongning fumbled his thick fingers, looking bashfully at her. Long Kuei glared at him. "I thought I told you last time that I like someone else. What are you sticking around me for?" You mean Brother Zhuofan? Ha ha ha, we talked it out. You were only using him as an excuse. We even became sworn brothers afterward. And brothers don't go after another's wife." Yongning licked his lips and giggled. Long Kuei mocked. "And what if what I said was all true?" Yongning froze and stared her in the eyes, but couldn't find a single lie. Ignoring him, Long Kuei left him there and returned to her house. After exchanging greetings with the other 2 princes, they walked towards a gate. Only Yongning was left there, lonely and lost. Then his brows furrowed. The rest of the houses arrived one by one with their elders, venerables and extras. The only difference was that the 3 houses had 4 venerables, while Drifting Flowers edifices only had 3, making them the weakest. And for some reason, Edifice Lord Chu was nowhere to be seen. With Iris Overseer and Grandmother leading their house, the people had no time for assumptions. As the guest of honor showed up, they instantly drew all eyes. Even with plenty of clans seeing the Luo clan's performance in the esoteric debate, the great majority hadn't. They all wished now to catch a glimpse of the Luo clan's might, and what made it the 8th house, especially that youth hiding in the crowd. He watched excitedly. "They say the Luo clan's steward is a hunk. Which one is he, though?" Chapter 354 On the Brink. Chapter 354 On the Brink. Tap. With a steady gait, the Luo clan walked forward. The first were Luo Yunchang and Luo Yunhai, the leaders of the Luo clan. Right behind them were Captain Pang, Lei Yuding and other important people. And finally Li Jingtian and Lei Yuntian, the elders. It was clear as day that the Luo clan hardly had any elders, merely 2, and their strength was far weaker. Only Li Jingtian's power stirred the hearts of men, yet the way Lei Yuntian, a profound heaven expert in the 5th layer, stood next to Li Jingtian, it was like an ant marching side by side with an elephant. Yongning only had disdain for them. "Humph, weak. Does that look like an 8th house to you? Don't they barely qualify with just 1 peak radiant stage expert?" "Second brother, don't say that. The Luo clan had been a 3rd-rate clan recently. But in the last 10 years they have grown so much to reach here. What do you say to that?" Yongning returned to his brothers, and although downcast, he admired the Luo clan. Crown Prince frowned a bit. "Third brother, I must say, this is some very rare and hard oddity to come by. But the way they've developed seems skewed. Do you guys think the Luo clan only has 1 radiant stage expert? When the day comes that they have to fight other houses and their only defense would go into battle, wouldn't they be left wide open for attack? Compared to other houses, the Luo clan will be the quickest to fall. This clan truly is a marvel, but far too soon to be called a house." Yongning watched the approaching group and sighed. This is not our concern but for that kid Xuefan to think about. Xuefan. The Crown Prince and the second prince raised an eyebrow. The former was quite excited. I've heard about him. Luo clan has managed to see today all because of him. He is a genius not unlike Zhuge Changfeng and Ling Wuchang. Staring at the Luo clan, Yong spat. I've heard of him too. Ever since he showed up, he has turned Tianyu upside down and even fought against the 7 houses. In the esoteric debate, he alone fought against Huangpu Qingtian's team of 4, making a name for himself. The Luo clan can now stand abreast the 7 houses all because of its 2 pillars. The sharp Steward Zhua and the mighty Li Jingtian. Who is Xuefan anyway? Yong scrutinized the Luo clan in search of his query. The Crown Prince was also on the lookout. Only Yuan Tsong, who had become a sworn brother with the man, said after a glance. He's not here. What, on the eve of their award ceremony, their steward still won't show? The 2 cried, shrugging. Yuan Tsong said, That's just how he is. With that last word, he went to Luo Yunchang and cupped his hands. The 2 were puzzled and even more curious about Xuefan. But the Crown Prince still went to greet the Luo clan. Only Yong disdained them from afar. He did not care one bit if the Luo clan was becoming the 8th house. He just knew one fact. Their odd discrepancy in ranks assured that it was only a matter of time before they crumbled, and he had no intention of making nice with the soon-to-be-dead clan. The young master in the crowd stuck his head out and scanned the Luo clan's detail. Who's Xuefan? Why does none of them look anything like the rumor? Is he perhaps that guy? The youth pointed at Yan Fu. The child next to him looked in disdain. Young master, that guy sure looks fair, but nothing alike. How come? This, I overheard my clansmen say that Luo clan's steward is vicious and fiendish, not like that pretty boy. Not to mention that he is the highest person in the Luo clan that even that radiant stage expert listens to. While that kid only knows how to bob his head, not speaking a word to the 2 elders. How is that fiendish? If he were indeed the rumored monster, the Crown Prince wouldn't dare neglect him. The young master was stunned, then nodded. Why, you're quite good at deductions. Who knew you had a good head on your shoulders? Young master exaggerates. The child giggled, her cheeks rosy. But if he isn't Xuefan, then who is it? The others don't look the part either. Seeing her young master so focused, the child shrugged, unsure as well. Look, Regent Estate is here. A shout caught everyone's attention. Even Crown Prince's attention, who was chatting with the Luo clan. That one look left everyone gasping and drove fear into their feeble legs. A group in golden garb strutted with Huangpu Tianyuan in the lead. Next to him was their steward, Tianyu's second greatest mind, unwanted contriver Ling Wuchang. Following were the profound heaven elders, 50 in number, releasing their mighty auras. Yet that was hardly impressive. What got everyone so shocked was the venerable contingency. A total of 30 people radiating incredible power. Any one of their gazes was enough to raise everything to the ground. Crown Prince gulped at the ostentatious display. He never imagined the Regent Estate's power would reach such a height. Almost catching up to the Imperial family's second prince was dumbstruck. His jaw hanging, eyes popping, forgetting himself as he spoke. Dang, now that's what you call a 1,000-year-old legacy. How can that upstart Luo clan compare? Li Jingtian watched them with a cold gaze. He was very clear on the Regent Estate's power. 15 of the venerables were below the 3rd layer of radiant stage, 10 of them between 3rd and 6th, and 5 above. In this aspect the Luo clan wasn't falling short. The Luo siblings glanced over and nodded. It all came down to Steward Zhua and the rest if they reached in time. The Crown Prince excused himself from the Luo clan and greeted the Regent Estate. Estate Lord Huangpu, I trust you have been well. It's only thanks to your blessing, Crown Prince, that I am well. Huangpu Tianyuan smiled just then. The second prince skipped the Luo clan and rushed over to Regent Estate with a smile. Royal uncle, it's been a while. Hiding the disdain, Huangpu Tianyuan put on a smile. Thank you, second prince, for your concern. The regent estate and the imperial family were distant relatives at first, but the imperial family had its dignity. That wouldn't change, even among relatives. If anybody wished to get close and use such a way of addressing, it had to be peers, just like how the emperor called him cousin while never lowering himself. Yet this second prince had walked up and called him royal uncle, his tone thick with flattery. Anyone with an ear could tell he wanted regent estate on his side, not to mention the guy had made a beeline for the regent estate, slighting the Luo clan and earning their malcontent. The prime example of the worst ruler. The crown prince glared at his brother, then sighed. Huangpu Tianyuan's group only had contempt for the second prince. Narrow-minded, brash, blind ambition, all talk, and unable to accomplish a single thing in his life. Glancing at Leng Wuchang, the two's minds connected and they smiled. High Venerable, your old friend is here. Why don't you go greet him? Leng Wuchang pointed at the Luo clan with a smile. Huangpu Fenglei nodded and grinned, making his way to the Luo clan. The regent estate's top expert drew gazes as he walked. Li Jingtian knew his purpose and stepped out as well. Everyone knew the strongest of two clans were now facing off. With Li Jingtian turning his back on the regent estate, the latter had to settle this disgrace, or it would become a stain on their name. People watched with rapt attention as the two got closer. How were they going to settle this? Even the other houses watched. It seemed like a problem between two men who represented a conflict between two clans. Any side's loss meant shame for their clan. Regent estate couldn't afford to lose. Regent estate had lost the esoteric debate, but that was pertaining to the younger generation. While losing here meant their 1,000-year-long legacy would crumble, as would they. Yet the regent estate was still willing to do this confrontation, confident of their success. Eyeing Li Jingtian, Huangpu Fenglei snickered. Mad Dipper Li Jingtian, you had lost to me once. How about showing me your progress from these past years? Ha ha ha. Chapter 355 Princess Yongning. Chapter 355 Princess Yongning. Elite Coder. The two stopped 20 meters from each other. Huangpu Fenglei started off with mockery. Ha ha ha, Li Jingtian, when you first came to Regent Estate, it was for the Imperial tyrant body art. For you to betray us in favor of the Luo clan, it must have been over something similar, right? Quite. Li Jingtian was blunt. My entire life, I've always been obsessed with martial arts, all in pursuit of power. But you guys are too selfish, not willing to impart me the complete Imperial tyrant body art. So why would I ever give my all to you? Humph, our Imperial tyrant body art is a second-to-none profound ranked cultivation method in Tianyu. Training even a fraction of it would have benefited you for life. But, fortunately, I was right to judge you untrustworthy and refused to give it to you. Or today would have been another story entirely. Huangpu Fenglei snickered. Not to mention that I heard you join the Luo clan for the same thing we didn't give you, a cultivation method, right? Li Jingtian admitted, among other things. Humph, absurd. In the whole of Tianyu, the quality of our cultivation method is second only to imperial families. Can a third-rate clan give you something like that? Ha ha ha, only a fool would believe that. Haven't you heard? Luo clan has a miraculous steward. He gave me something you can't even dream of. Li Jingtian talked back. Huangpu Fenglei's voice dropped. Zhuofan? Humph, what can a glib punk ever achieve? He is only a king among scamps. And since you hold him in such high regard, you've made me curious to watch him myself. But first, let's see what you've received from the Luo clan. Huangpu Fenglei's power surged and 9 golden dragons roared as they twisted around him. He was glowing with might and devastating power. The Imperial tyrant body art of the regent estate was revealed in all its glory and trained to the max. Ha ha ha, perfect timing. It's time I pay back for the resentment from all those years. Laughing, Li Jingtian became enveloped in dark energy, swallowed in the belly of a huge dragon with red eyes thirsting for battle. The two were moments away from a death match. The crown prince was shocked and rushed forward to stop it. But a man in golden robes stopped him before he got the chance. Huangpu Tianyuan smiled. Crown Prince, they are peak radiant stage experts. For your safety, please stay away from our venerable. Crown Prince shuddered and noticed his brothers were also behind some venerable from the Regent estate. All he could do was sigh. It was obvious that the Regent estate wanted no interference. Before the award ceremony even began, he wanted to show the Luo clan the might of the head of the houses, but with a full-blown battle raging over here, what about the Imperial family's reputation? At this critical and dire moment, a divine dragon would usually interfere. No? The Crown Prince shuddered all of a sudden. How come there were no divine dragons around? It goes on to show that they've planned for this all along. Is the Imperial father behind this? Crown Prince's worry eased as he looked at the two fighters. Puzzled, the Emperor was clearly intent on praising the Luo clan for their exemplary conduct. But letting Luo clan and Regent estate fight at the gates, he was unclear if it was directed at humiliating the new house or stomping Regent estate's cocky attitude. Even so, attacking the Regent estate was impossible at this point. Which meant the Crown Prince was even more puzzled. Just what are you up to, Imperial father? Only Leng Wuchang was calmly tending to his beard. He had easily surmised that the Emperor's stance with the Luo clan changed from the moment Zhuofan got the dragon veined soul, hence this award ceremony was the perfect time to test the Luo clan's waters. With how Zhuofan's actions in the past years were shrouded in mystery so that not even the Emperor knew, he was feeling a little more than mere unease. Case in point, only God knew when Li Jingtian had switched sides, yet only now did he show his face, and the Emperor wasn't about to let a viable threat fester. Thus today's show was all set up courtesy of His Majesty, with Regent estate as the main actor. Since the two's interests aligned, to fish out the Luo clan's dirty little secrets. In the heart of the Imperial capital, on the top story of the tallest restaurant, Fang Qiubai and Sima Hui sat. Their eyes never left the 9 gates and the waves of power coming from their old Fang. The two are as strong as us. Leaving them to fight will spin this out of control. Sima Hui frowned, fiddling with a chess piece. Fang Qiubai held a brand new flute as he shook his head, smiling. It's His Majesty's order. Let them fight. And even if it blows things out of proportion, we have young Sanzi to deal with them. Ha ha ha. True, in the end it all depends on the little monster. Shaking his head, Sima Hui sighed. But won't that make us utterly useless? Look at us, the invincible divine dragons, jade flute, divine sword, and monochrome chess sage, now reduced to mere relics of the past, obsolete. Huangpu Feng lay aside. For even a third-rate clan's venerable to outclass us, we won't be having such an easy time going wherever we want in Tianyu now. Sima Hui's mood sank and Fang Qiubai shook his head. You're right, but even so, be it Huangpu Fenglei or Li Jingtian, they were both powerful men of ambition back in the day. Getting caught up is normal. But if a new and upcoming expert suddenly reached our level, I'd smash my head and die. Sima Hui found wisdom in his words. They no longer chose to dwell on it and resumed to watch the act unfold. The clans in the audience were thrilled at the prospect of a good show, but now they were downright terrified. Scurrying to and fro for cover. Of note were those particular clans present at the esoteric debate, who were positively dreading the aftermath. They knew better than ever what a clash between colossi entailed. Getting near was suicidal, and getting a stray hit would bury you. If they didn't flee now, they would never get the chance. That said, while the two were measuring their auras and powering up, the crowd went wild and hightailing it out of there. The young master in the crowd stumbled in the confusion but stayed put. The ignorance in him had no clue what was coming. Then his robe was yanked by the rushing crowd, revealing a fair hand and a dazzling jade bracelet. The young master cried, trying to cover it, but it was perhaps a bit hard with the frantic mob running around Pa. The bracelet fell and started rolling on the ground. The young master panicked and chased after it. Imperial Mother's bracelet. Young master, don't, it's too dangerous. The child saw him rush after the rolling bracelet, towards the two experts' battle. It was impossible to reach him in time as the mob dragged him further away. Finally, the young master squeezed out between the last people and finally picked up some speed, catching the bracelet with a smile. But just then, the two experts moved. With a boom, they charged at one another. While the youth stood there frozen, in the middle, Imperial tyrant body art. Soaring demonic dragon. As they roared, their power reached the masses before they even clashed. The youth had no time to dodge, feeling the godly pressure bearing down on him, and coughed blood. Sharp winds slashed at him, ripping his robe and revealing a lavish garment. The scholar hat fell, draping long flowing black hair. He was a she. Yongning. The three princes cried, "Stop!" Not that it did much good. The two only heard their own roars. When an expert attacked, he had no reason to stop. Fang Qiubai and Sima Hui jumped to their feet. "Princess!" They rushed to the rescue even though they knew the futility of it. Not even them could save her, trapped in the maelstrom of power born of two clashing peak radiant stage experts. Li Jingtian and Huangpu Fenglei never even registered the girl there. To them, she was as important as an ant. All they saw was their enemy. Roar! Roar! With two dragon roars, the two sped up. The princes and the two divine dragons watched on with bloodshot eyes. They couldn't understand how His Majesty's beloved daughter had ended up here. The danger of the situation finally dawned on Yongning as blood trickled from her mouth. She was akin to a dinghy in the middle of a storm, with the two waves coming down on her any minute to render her void. Fear gripped her heart as she shook like a leaf. "Mother." Hugging the bracelet, Yongning cried and cried, her lips trembling as she pleaded, "Someone save me." But who could save her from the jaws of death, brought on by the might of two clashing peak radiant stage experts? The princes were beside themselves in fear. The two divine dragons knew it was hopeless but still tried to reach her, and the child in the crowd was wailing, "Princess." Yet none of those acts was of any help. The two experts finally reached her with bloodthirsty eyes. Their gaze pierced her heart as their punches drew closer. A fierce wind snapped at her face. She knew her end was nigh, at their hands. Her heart was in deep regret for slipping out of the Imperial palace and ending up here, but in her final moment, all she could think of was her mother watching her from above as she raised the bracelet and prayed, "Mother, you said there's someone who will protect me. Please, come save me." Whoosh! Then the gale and pressure vanished, to make way for the cold voice drifting in her ears. "Lass, a rabbit has no place wandering where savage beasts are on the prowl." Chapter 356, The Might of Luo Clan. Chapter 356, The Might of Luo Clan. Elite Coder. Shivering, Yongning realized that she wasn't torn apart by the two mighty powers and was in fact caressed by a breeze. She cracked her eyes open just a hint, but what she saw made her cry out and fall down in fright. Before her was a man in every sense of the word. With broad shoulders, white hair floating in the wind and a deep gaze looking down on all creation. But the greatest shock was how this man actually put a stop to the raging tempest. The two peak radiant stage experts unleashed. His left hand was twisted into a savage dragon claw, holding Li Jingtian's wrist unscathed by Li Jingtian's black energy trying to eat it, while his right arm made a simple block with his palm. Yet this plain act seemed to contain endless power as Huangpu Fenglei's 9 golden dragons couldn't budge an inch. The people cried out in shock, seeing the situation take an impossible turn. Two peak radiant experts were handled like a bunch of chickens. Huangpu Fenglei and Li Jingtian were overwhelmed watching the man. Then the once lost feeling of fear slowly crept into their soul. They were peak radiant stage experts, fearless against any adversary in Tianyu. But now they were reacquainted with this feeling of dread a century later by this man in front of them. The fact that these two peak experts couldn't match their enemy brought a deep sense of loss to them. They had roamed Tianyu all their lives and reached the peak of power, so where did this guy come from that could trump them? Not to mention he was young. "Who are you?" Watching the youth sent from the heavens holding the evil dragon claws at bay, Yongning's cheeks flushed. A single question plagued her mind: did the Imperial Mother send you to protect me? Ignoring the shell-shocked princess, the youth's right hand moved and Huangpu Fenglei was forced back with a groan rumbling. The pavement crumbled as Huangpu Fenglei skidded back, leaving deep scars. He only stopped when he was in his original spot, 10 meters away, raising his head. His face was pale. He had just used Imperial Tyrant body art, a profound ranked martial art, to attack, yet the opponent easily took it and even pushed him back. Just what power did this man have? Who the hell is this guy? Not sparing him another moment, he looked at Li Jingtian and pushed back the black dragon claw of his. Elderly, you're still not backing down? That woke Li Jingtian right up. What had happened was too shocking, and he withdrew his attack only now. Then he showed his respect, Steward Zhua. What, Zhuofan? As if rehearsed, the Crown Prince, Second Prince and Huangpu Fenglei cried out. They looked at him like a zoo animal. They had all heard of Zhuofan's glorious name, but never thought he'd be so much of a freak in person. Was there anyone in the world who could take on two peak radiant stage experts' attacks? Leng Wuchang and Huangpu Tianyuan were dumbfounded. How could that monster grow so much in little under half a year? He was a completely different being from the one they saw in the esoteric debate. Then their faces turned heavy with how true power could topple anything, and the more Zhuofan grew stronger, the more futile Leng Wuchang's attempts were to deal with him. To say nothing of what a treacherous knave Zhuofan was to begin with. Add to that his power, and they felt as powerless as when facing Gu Santong Fong Qiubai, and Sima Hui stopped dead in their tracks, watching dumbstruck for 2 seconds before their faces sank. Old Fong, should we bust our heads and keel over? The youth of today seem to have overtaken us. Hard days await us. Sima Hui sighed. Fong Qiubai's face twitched. One thing had to be said though. Following Zhuofan's explosion of power, the Emperor would have to change his plans for the Luo clan. The two of them were sure they'd be seeing Zhuofan far more often in the future. For the Imperial family, they were ready to face any danger, endure any psychological torture this youth stronger than them might subject them to, and since the inception of the great divine dragons, this would probably be the hardest thing yet. Zhuofan, you came. Luo Yunchang moved with the Luo clan to his side. Watching him come down like a god filled her with joy. Then she glanced at the dumbstruck Yongning and asked, "Miss, are you all right?" Yongning blinked for a long time at Zhuofan before she could find her words. "Are you that Zhuofan? You're 10 times more handsome than the rumor goes." Zhuofan's face twitched, but Luo Yunchang got ahead of him as she said coldly, "Miss, please mind yourself. Steward Zhua isn't someone you can casually address." But the way he casually dropped was unlike any human. Ha ha ha. A laughter came followed by a mountain of flesh running over in excitement. "Brother, I missed you so much." With one last step, he jumped on Zhuofan. Glancing over, Zhuofan only kicked the meatball 2 meters away as it landed with a boom. Face covered in dust, Yuan Song put on the look of a kicked puppy. "Brother, what did you do that for?" "I'd rather not get crushed to death, thank you." Zhuofan rolled his eyes. "Humph. Who are you trying to play here? You stop 2 peak radiant stage experts but can't take a bit of my extra weight?" Zhuofan cocked his head and ignored him, which only worked to enrage him. Yongning looked at them for a second before saying, "Third brother, you know him?" "Third brother?" Everyone looked at her stunned. Luo Yunchang gasped, "Then you're the princess?" "Yes." Yongning held her head high and revealed a proud face, but when she glanced at Zhuofan and found him not at all interested, her mood sank. "Yongning, how did you get out? What are you doing here? Do you realize how dangerous that was?" Yuan Bo rushed over and chastised his sister, then bowed to Zhuofan. "Thank you, young Master Zhua, for your timely rescue." "I am." Zhuofan had already left, leaving the Crown Prince in an awkward position. He then noticed that Zhuofan was going in the Regent Estate's direction. What is he going to do, fight? Everyone grew excited and nervous. What they saw when he stopped Li Jingtian and Huangpu Fenglei was positively incredible. How would the regent estate, the unrivaled head of the 7 houses over the past millennium, cope? The people were eagerly awaiting the good show. This was unprecedented. Anyone messing with the houses got annihilated, but a few years ago, Xuefan began chipping at the 7 houses' power outside of the 7 houses. Tianyu now had an 8th Luo clan, and their steward, soaring demonic dragon, was someone neither house wished to test, all while he was more than delighted to step on their toes. What was more, the Luo clan was about to be officially acknowledged, setting up Luo clan's roots for all eternity. After a long 1,000 years, the ranks of the houses would finally be redefined. Whoosh! Huangpu Fenglei flashed before Xuefan with a grave face. His eyes staring down on him. You're Xuefan? What are you trying to do? The rest of the regent estate was on high alert. Xuefan merely smiled. Oh, nothing. On this auspicious day, the Luo clan is receiving its title, and I hoped everyone would keep to themselves, or a war might break out. War? Humph. Luo clan only has Li Jingtian. What can you possibly do? An upstart clan like you with no legacy dares fight a house? To me, Luo clan has only 2 people. There is no war. What a joke. Ha ha ha. Huangpu Fenglei mocked. The rest had to agree the Luo clan's biggest problem was being short-handed. Xuefan and Li Jingtian were great experts and strong to boot. But take them out and the rest would be easy pickings. They weren't even useful as cannon fodder. Luo clan's weakness was clear for anyone to see. Second Prince snickered. Ever heard the saying, short-handed? You 2 are great but the rest are junk. Once surrounded, the rest will fall like flies. Xuefan mocked. Dumb bigot, you think I don't have a way to fight that legacy of yours? Xuefan pointed at the sky. Feast your eyes on the Luo clan's power, a power to crush any house. Pa. With a crisp sound, powerful surges came from the heavens above. Chapter 357 Fiendish Elders. Chapter 357 Fiendish Elders. Elite Coder. Whoosh. 7 figures dropped down like meteors, spreading their savage energy around Xuefan. The overflowing power got even Regent Estate to shirk back. With a startle, they realized that all they could do was endure the pressure. People went pale on the spot. Regent Estate had 30 venerables, so why couldn't they even fight back when they had the numerical advantage? However, upon closer look, they got the shock of their lives, with their hearts threatening to burst out of their chests. Of the 7 newcomers, only one was a peak profound heaven expert, who they didn't recognize. But the other 6 had fiendish reputations. Even as rogue cultivators, no one dared to touch them. Raging Ancestor Qiu Yanhai, Ice Moon Witch Xue Qinjian, what are you 2 doing beside Luo clan? Ling Wuchang's eyes flashed with regret. It was the Regent Estate who wanted them first, and Ling Wuchang found their power impressive. An art to harmonize fire and water was rare. It would have been such a shame burying such an asset. He thought it was better to let them go and think of another way to have them join, since the 2 hardly posed a threat to the Regent Estate. But who'd have thought they'd side with Xuefan instead, becoming their bitter enemies? If he knew, he'd have culled them when he had the chance. But who could have seen this one coming? Not even he, unwanted contriver with his foolproof plans, had thought it possible that what Regent Estate couldn't recruit, it would be done by others. However, it was far too late for regret. Xue Qinjian easily spotted his dilemma. Sir Ling, are you regretting not killing us? Hi, a shame it's all too late now. Steward Zhua is far stronger in this regard. He truly was vile in his recruiting. I get the chills just thinking about it. Xue Qinjian played coy and put on a knowing look. This got on Ling Wuchang's nerves. A pair of masochists that don't know how to accept a favor. I realize I've been too kind to you. Yes, what you can't obtain, you destroy. The more precious the item, the more this logic stands. Since there is a high chance it might come back to bite you, ha ha ha. Elder Xue is right. This is where you are beneath me. Xuefan cackled. If one day you fall at my hand, you will experience complete failure. That is why as a fellow steward, I can lead the Luo clan to new heights, while you can only assist the regent estate, by cooking up some elaborate schemes. Humph. This is the difference between rulers and their ministers. And this is what you lack, bringing your downfall. Grinning, Xuefan stared at Ling Wuchang and laughed. Ling Wuchang was about to explode from anger, his eyes bloodshot. For the first time, someone had dared to taunt him. Not even Zhuge Changfeng dared talk to him like that. Xuefan, though, jabbed at his wisdom in his mockery, yet the man couldn't even retort. Who was it that caught him off guard in the esoteric debate and killed everyone? Xuefan said it was a draw at the time, but it was plain as day that Ling Wuchang lost. What could he possibly say to that? Ling Wuchang's anger grew and grew. Gasping yet unable to speak, everyone looked at him stunned. The second greatest mind in Tianyu, Ling Wuchang, was being pushed back in a verbal contest with Xuefan. Huangpu Fenglei's face sank. And seeing the Luo clan's forces, he trembled. But when he caught sight of the 4 pygmies, his eyes grew serious. The abominable 4 scheming demons. Weren't you in the Thunder Swarm Mountain, locked away by the demon scheming sect? What are you doing with the Luo clan? Hi, Foggy, are you talking to us? Violent Demon held his chin up. How could a mere mountain hold the 4 demonic heroes? Here, the mountain can't hold us. That goes double to you. Hi. The other 3 jumped up in glee. Squinting, Huangpu Fenglei said, Oh? And what if I tell the demon scheming sect? SSS. The 4 pygmies shivered on the spot, filled with fear. Huangpu Fenglei smiled inside as he mocked. Humph, you must have escaped your prison, right? If I report you to the demon scheming sect, not just you, but even the Luo clan will. I'd like to see you try. Xuefan cut him off with his derision. These 4 twerps are here to help the Luo clan by the order of demon scheming sect's sect leader, Xie. Go ahead, report. I won't stop you. Huangpu Fenglei choked on his words. It was because Xuefan's information was too credible. Knowing who demon scheming sect's sect leader was, proved the 4 scheming demons were sent to help the Luo clan. Did that mean the Luo clan had one of the Empire's 3 guardian sects, demon scheming sect, on their side? What hope did they have in fighting the Luo clan then? Not a snowball's chance in hell. How could a house fight a sect? Yet he was still unwilling to believe all of Xuefan's words. Staring him in the eye for any trace of lies, the 4 scheming demons looked at him in shock. Wimp Demon couldn't hold his curiosity in check as he whispered, Steward Zhua, is it true? Xuefan nodded. It was all fiction, of course. Xie had no idea the 4 shits were with the Luo clan. But he was sure Xie wouldn't object. Anyway, the demon scheming sect's sect leader was even waiting 3 years before taking him to his sect, yet wouldn't give this little bit of help. The 4 scheming demons, having got their answer, were ecstatic. They suddenly gathered around and pooled their tiny minds for a little chat. They nodded and a savage glint sparked in their eyes. The 4 turned into black smoke and charged at Regent Estate. Huangpu Fenglei jerked and shouted, Look out, these 4 are hard to deal with. Too little, too late. 4 trails of black smoke shot at Regent Estate's venerables. In a blink, a venerable in the 4th layer of radiant stage was taken to the skies in the sun's glaring rays. The black smoke squeezed in on the venerable. Despite his futile struggles, snaps were clearly heard as the venerable wailed and broke in 4. The blood sprinkled everywhere to the horror of everyone who since when did a 4th layer radiant stage expert get dismembered so easily? Those things are abominable. Let that be a warning. Their unity tactic is hard to defend against. Don't let them get the drop on you. Huangpu Fenglei shouted. His face grave. He had roamed Tianyu back in the day and knew of the 4 demons' dreadful power. They were few, but vile and insidious like fiends, not to mention stronger than an average radiant stage expert. Qiu Yanhai and Xue Qingjian's fire and water combination art could hold back 10 radiant stage experts. The 4 demons' unity tactic could deal with another 10. And with freaks like Xuefan and Li Jingtian in the mix, He reckoned they'd handle 10 as well. Each Luo clan could now deal with 40 Radiant Stage experts, 10 more than Regent Estate had. This was something no one in the Regent Estate saw coming in just 10 short years. This clan had reached such an astonishing height. The Crown Prince, Second Prince, and many others were dumbstruck. Who the hell said Luo clan had no legacy? That it was made of only 2 people? In a blink, all their elders were on duty and freaking Radiant Stage experts at that. What upstart? They were clearly a clan hiding for 1,000 years. Hi, geezer, weren't you about to report us? We're no longer scared of you. If you still have the guts, run away from us 4 demonic heroes and snitch. The black smoke in the air let out violent demons cackle. Huangpu Fenglei felt a headache. He stuck close to Huangpu Tianyuan, as the latter and Leng Wuchang looked on with worry. The 4 demons were notorious. They were madmen, doing whatever whenever, regardless of circumstances and orders. They were a bigger threat than even Zhuofan. The Crown Prince ran to Zhuofan and cupped his hands. Steward Zhua, today is Luo clan's award ceremony. You can't shed blood. Please cease hostilities and call back your elders. A red sky is an auspicious sky. We should make it so in reality as well. We shall turn the ceremony into a sign of prosperity. Zhuofan waved him off with his trademark evil grin. Elderly, who was it that struck first? We did it at the same time. But he taunted me first. Li Jingtian answered, in that case we can't turn back as cowards. Zhuofan laughed. Elders, it's showtime. Zhuofan gave the start with his left hand, turning into the earth dragon claw while his right shined. Li Jingtian grinned and black energy roamed. Xue Qingjian and Qiu Yanhai held hands as fire and water fused, releasing waves upon waves of power at such a display of power. And glancing at the 4 black spots in the sky, Huangpu Fenglei felt like crying. What is wrong with today? They only wanted to cut some of the Luo clan's momentum and curb the new house's development. So how did it turn the other way around with us getting curbed? Not to mention this had stopped being a mere beating. They already had a casualty. If this went on, Luo clan's fiends would kill them all. They were all hoping their allies would back them up, but Hell Valley, Pill King Hall and Merry Woods, who usually cheered them on every chance they got, now looked anywhere but here. No help was coming from them, that was for sure. The Luo clan and Regent Estates war had had them loose too much already. And now that the Luo clan had come in full force, they'd be dumber than a rock getting caught up in that maelstrom of carnage. Chapter 358 Yield. Chapter 358 Yield. Elite Coder. Glaring at those houses, the Regent Estates people looked around tensely. They were in a real bind here. They had the numbers, true, but the enemy had the quality. Albeit less than 10, but against them, they didn't dare make rash decisions. More importantly, they were being singled out alone. They'd be easy pickings. Not that going as a team would make much of a difference when the enemy used a unity tactic. They were at a severe disadvantage. Looking at the 4 balls of blackness in the air, then at the grinning Zhuofan, Huangpu Tianyuan's heart shivered. The 4 demons moved like ghosts, elusive and deadly. Raging Ancestor and Ice Moon, which united, had their power multiplied, with hardly anyone hoping of getting near them. Mad Dipper Li Jingtian needed no introduction from the astonishing display earlier, and was on par with their High Venerable, while the last, Zhuofan, was the freakiest of all. He clearly had a power beyond Huangpu Fenglei. In this particular hopeless situation, the best outcome would be with both sides sporting heavy losses and neither getting a clear advantage over the other. Especially when the Regent Estate's 1,000-year-long legacy was on the line here, about to be burned to the ground. He never thought nor hoped to be in such a crisis. That beside the Imperial family, Tianyu had another house who could push them back. Huangpu Tianyuan's heart was torn with anxiety. He kept giving Leng Wuchang the eye. He just wasn't about to let Regent Estate fall under his leadership. He just couldn't accept it. The Crown Prince was tense as well. These two houses were about to jump at each other's throat, with no one to mediate. Where in the name of all that's holy had those damned divine dragons gone off to? What would become of the Imperial family's public view when an all-out skirmish took place in their backyard? Or front yard, to be precise, right under the Emperor's nose. Fang Qiubai and Sima Hui were watching from afar. They were in awe of the Luo clan's military might, but stayed put. Waiting for the spark to blow this place sky high. As for the audience, they were smart enough to clear the heck out of there. And only after all safety precautions were taken, and a very solid cover in front, did they begin to enjoy the bustle. In one corner, they had a house with 1,000-years-old history, and in the other was an up-and-coming behemoth. It doesn't get any better than this. As for who would ultimately be crowned head of houses, clans and the like, they were very much looking forward to seeing it. The common clans weren't the only ones. The other houses looked tensely at the standoff as well, observing as the situation devolved, or evolved. Luo clan's power blew their minds, which had made the future house contest all the more confusing. Who would be the final winner? Earlier, the odds were 70-30 in Regent Estate's favor. But now they looked pretty much even. Luo clan had given them the shock of a lifetime. Ling Wuchang's eyes roamed about and then settled on his target. Steward Zhuor, is it all right to do this? We both know how this is going to end. You're not the one to go to war knowing there's a third party involved and risk losing everything. Perhaps not. Zhuofan taunted with his cryptic smile. His eyes flashed. Sir Ling, there's a difference between me, you and Zhuge Changfeng. I'm not all brain and no brawn. Sometimes I go a little nuts, you see. It's normal. I'm sure you understand this by now, having felt it on your own skin, ha ha ha. Ling Wuchang's face twitched and anger spiked. He understood all right. Zhuofan was hinting at the esoteric debate where he went berserk. At the time Zhuofan, in his madness, carried out his vendetta regardless of tricks or the bigger picture. He was quite conceited of himself back then, but now it somehow became Zhuofan's cover, rendering all his readings of the Steward void. With enough brawn, one would lose their head, so much so they didn't care about their own life. They'd be willing to take the fall as long as they could take down the opponent with them against a man without restraints. The crazier he was, the more horrifying he became. With nothing in this world to chain him down, you'd have no idea what insane idea he'd come up with next, and that was Zhuofan. If his revenge had yet to cool down back in the esoteric debate, he might really engage in this battle, regardless of a third party. Then they'd both lose. To the Luo clan, a new house, that was quite a good ending. While for Regent Estate, having a long history behind them, the resentment couldn't be imagined. Ling Wuchang sighed. Then what would make you step down? Regent Estate's people were stunned. The great Ling Wuchang was actually negotiating his terms of surrender? This has never happened. Not even Regent Estate's people had experienced a case like this. He'd never submit even in front of the estate lord. With a creepy grin plastered on his face, Zhuofan held his head high and began, to be perfectly honest, our two houses are now in a standoff because of your taunt. If you want to give up, it couldn't be easier. Apologize. Apologize. Regent Estate shivered to the very core as every one of them glared back. Regent Estate had been the head of all clans for 1,000 years. All its actions were beyond reproach and righteous. Even if they weren't, who would do anything about it? Yet now they were being asked to apologize. Wasn't that a poorly disguised surrender? How would they get the nerve to get out into the world after this? Not that Zhuofan gave a hoot about how they fumed. As for your sincerity, just wing it. Humph, you take that apology and stick it where the sun doesn't shine. We'd rather choose death before dishonor. You and me, little demon, we're gonna settle this right here. An aged voice spat as he charged. Going by the readings on his power surge, one would place him in the 6th layer of Radiant Stage. Don't take him on by yourself. Ling Wuchang cried, for naught. The man got to Zhuofan, his golden glow revved up, dragon roars in the background, and even the space fizzling out as he punched Xuefan. Any other guy out there would have been a smear on the ground long before he was even hit, but he was dealing with Xuefan lifting his right arm. The red glow flashed for a second and Xuefan stopped the attack just like that. That mighty fist softly landed in his palm before he could get another swing in. Xue Qingjian and Qiu Yanhai attacked with their hands' united life and death art. Fire and ice combined to release an unspeakable power. It shot a blinding white light, swallowing the man and catapulting him into the sky with a fairly loud bang. The sky itself shook, and the radiant stage expert was robbed of his last chance at wailing, pulverized. Not a sign of him was left that he ever even existed. One blow. SSS. Gasps resounded everywhere. Everyone knew of the might of this old couple, but their expectations were blown at the display of a unity tactic. Fear was etched on their faces, especially on Huangpu Fenglei. Not even he could take that. Why is the Luo clan a den of monsters? Li Jingtian grinned, taking on a cocky air as he heckled Huangpu Fenglei. High Venerable, see that? That's why we side with the Luo clan. Huangpu Fenglei was floored. Did the Luo clan have much stronger cultivation methods than the Imperial family and Regent estate? They'd have to re-evaluate their power. If it were true this also snuffed out the last hope of victory. Regent estate had Huangpu Fenglei paled, as he nodded to Huangpu Tianyuan. Yield! Huangpu Tianyuan gasped, his fists clenched, nails digging into his palm. But in the end, he shouted, "Everyone, listen up." With a trembling lip, Huangpu Tianyuan found it unbearably hard to open his mouth, and spoke those humiliating words. All he could do was make a deep bow. It was plain to see his meaning, and even the rest felt a little humiliated too. But when they saw their estate lord lower his head, they couldn't say anything and bowed as well. Ling Wuchang felt his heart bleeding, but he was all out of options. This was the only way out. Giving up before the madman found a reason to go crazy was the best outcome. Ling Wuchang bowed as well, speaking for Huangpu Tianyuan. "Steward Zhua, it was I who offended you. Please forgive me." Every clan looked at them stunned. The head of houses, Regent estate, surrendered to a new house. This had never happened in ever. The Regent estate was stuck up even before the Imperial family, but before Xuefan, they had completely yielded. The three princes were speechless. Luo clan's fame had reached an all-time high. "So you can learn." Xuefan nodded, satisfied, "as long as you know your faults and keep them in mind for the future. The 7, no, from today it should be 8. The head of the 8 houses is no longer the Regent estate, but Luo clan." Xuefan finished with a laugh, a snap of his finger and a spin on his heel before leaving. The 4 scheming demons landed, along with the other elders. Everyone walked on victorious towards Luo Yunchang. The people witnessing this miracle felt hope surging in their chests, while the rest of the houses were utterly speechless and stunned to even react. The head of the 7 houses, Regent estate, had humble pie shoved down their throats before the entire empire, and even had their head title stolen by the new house. Elder Chu, is that our ally? A lady among Drifting Flowers Edifice's disciples asked. Chu Bijuan grandmother nodded happily. "Venerable Bing, it is." "Good, Elder Chu, we truly bet on a treasure this time. There's hope for Drifting Flowers Edifices to rise again." Grandmother smiled. Cheers exploded at Veiled Dragon Pavilion and Sword Marquise abode houses as well, while only Pill King Hall and Merrywoods looked positively glum. Regent estate's decline meant the fall of their backer. As for Hell Valley, they looked on with a cold eye, having already found their path. Chapter 359 Award Ceremony. Chapter 359 Award Ceremony. Elite Coder. Who'd have thought that secretive kid from Luo clan would reveal his entire hand only now? A truly unpredictable man. In the Imperial Palace, Zhuge Changfeng stood on a 100-meter tall gate tower, watching, sighing. Next to him were the Yongning elders with a frown. The white-haired elder's eyes turned hard. How did he reach such an inconceivable level? It's mind-boggling. It makes me recall that man. You mean? The black-haired elder's eyes flashed and he shuddered at the mere mention. Invincible scamp, Gu Santong. The other nodded. Besides that little devil, I've never seen anyone in the profound heaven stage capable of taking a peak radiant stage expert's attack with such ease. It used to be only him, but now… Ha ha ha, Zhuofan is far worse than Gu Santong. Zhuge Changfeng smiled. Gu Santong is but a humble man. With a bit of trickery he'd fall for anything. With the Imperial palace trapping him for 300 years, it makes his godlike feat back then look like a lie. He is but a mere child. Zhuge Changfeng's eyes squinted and he turned to the white-haired figure, but Zhuofan is a true master of cunning and trickery. To play or con him is harder than taking the throne. Now that he has Gu Santong's power as well, no one in Tianyu can deal with him. The Yongning elders looked at each other puzzled. The white elder paused then. Prime Minister, didn't you say everything was put in place by the Emperor? He wanted to incite the Regent estate and Luo clan to sink further into killing each other. The two were so close to doing it as well, with Zhuofan's high and mighty display, and killing two of Regent estate's venerables. Doesn't that mean he fell for it? As far as my old eyes see, Leng Wuchang just had to endure and the two houses would be tearing each other apart by now. Ha ha ha, you guys only see what's in front and not from every angle. Zhuge Changfeng shook his head. The Emperor might have set the stage, but couldn't care less about how this drama played out. Be it Zhuofan or Leng Wuchang, both are wise enough to see it. Neither of them wishes to fight and to let the Emperor win, but with this, Zhuofan has found Leng Wuchang's limit. Because of what transpired in the esoteric debate, Zhuofan's actions had gone beyond human understanding, leaving Leng Wuchang in the dark about his next move. It had robbed him of his initiative in this situation, ending up getting smacked around like a child. Even if Zhuofan had been stronger, he'd still not do it. A trained eye would see that the Emperor wanted to use this excuse to force Luo clan to show its hand and thus was a partial winner. While Luo clan used the stage to push back at the Regent estate and shake their public image, also winning some. While only Regent estate, suppressed by a new house, suffered the worst, ha ha ha. The two elders shivered, eyes stunned. A mere scuffle between the two houses actually had so many implications and consequences, fighting over interests below the surface. If humble people like them were caught up in it, they reckoned they'd be toyed with and spat out mangled. The complexity of the ploys were mind-boggling. Now they understood why Zhuofan was more dreadful than Gu Santong. If Gu Santong had but half of Zhuofan's smarts, no one could have been able to fool him into ending up trapped. Zhuofan was a combination of Leng Wuchang and Gu Santong in one. Prime Minister, it's best this threat is dealt with fast, before it affects Sir's plan. The Black Elder cupped his hands. While the kid isn't invincible, we too can still handle him. Please let us cull him and spare you the suffering. Zhuge Changfeng waved. Now, he isn't my enemy yet. Quite the helper, in fact. Taking him out earlier will only benefit the others. I don't take kindly to letting others enjoy the fruits of my work. The elders were puzzled. Zhuge Changfeng merely shook his head. I have figured out that old bean's mind. 8 houses, 1,000-year-old secret order, they have all been long in play, ha ha ha. Zhuge Changfeng stepped down the tower. Come, the ceremony is about to begin. The elders followed in silence. In another area, Fang Qiubai and Sima Hui saw the two houses cease hostilities. But even with Regent estate losing 2 venerables, the two were cursing them for being useless and running scared on their way to the Imperial palace. Zhuofan had rejoined Luo Yunchang with the elders and went to the 9th gate, watching the aloof, white-haired figure not once glance over. Yongning glared at him annoyed and pouted. Humph, what's with being all pretentious like? You're nothing but a steward of a no-name clan. Yongning, he isn't your normal steward. In his hands, the Luo clan has become Regent estate's equal. You know what power the regent estate has, even we have to show respect. Keep in mind the next time you meet people from the Luo clan to show some courtesy. Crown Prince instructed Yongning was having none of that. Second Prince came over and looked at Luo clan as he said, Luo clan isn't to be taken lightly. Their steward is a man to befriend. Second brother, don't forget about our Imperial family's rules. Leave me be. Second Prince didn't give a damn about the Crown Prince's warning. Princess, are you all right? A shout revealed the child coming running from among the crowd. The princess smiled, while the Crown Prince sighed and face-bombed. Almost forgot, Yongning, how did you get out? Snooping. Yongning and the child hanged their heads in shame. Crown Prince turned blue from anger and barked. Yongning, you not only snuck out of the Imperial palace by yourself but even dared to snoop to do it? You're only making it worse for yourself. How's it my fault? The entire Imperial palace is filled with tunnels with no guards around them. How else did you expect me to get out with my 5th layer of bone tempering stage cultivation? Yongning grumbled. Crown Prince was royally pissed now. He couldn't vent as Yuan Song came laughing. Ha ha ha, eldest brother, breathe. Sister likes to mess around. The 9th gate will soon open and we'll take her back. What's the point of making the matter worse than it is? Third brother, you're the best. Your head looks like a pig, but your brain is sharper than one. Yongning giggled. Yuan Song turned cold. Eldest brother, I think handing her over to Imperial father is best. Ground her for half a year and seal all the tunnels in the Imperial palace. See how she'll get out then. No. Third brother, I was wrong. Please forgive me. Don't tell the Imperial father. You're the most handsome man ever. Even more than Xuanji. That had all of them laugh and look at her with a shaking head. They were all brothers and sisters and had no reason to hate each other. After 15 minutes, with a sharp creaking sound, all the gates rumbled open to reveal the refined interior of the Imperial palace. Open. The 8 houses each had a gate, while the 3 princes and Yongning took the center one. The other clans walked behind the houses as they entered. But this time Regent Estate had far less people following them, even less than the other houses, while Luo clan, a newcomer, had the longest trail, making it hard to even pass the gate. The previous fight had done wonders for the Luo clan's prestige. They all knew Luo clan was above Regent Estate as the new head of all clans and houses. Only around 10 elders, but each was valiant and hardy like true warriors. This also meant that Luo clan cared about quality, not quantity. Following the entrance of the 8 groups into a wide hallway, the 2 sides were lined with guards. From their bearing it was easy to see that they were hardened soldiers, and one could even detect arrays all over the place. Looking ahead, one could guess them to be above 1,000 in number. Xuanji's eyes trembled and he nodded inwardly. Based on every house's legacy, the Imperial family's legacy ruled supreme. Once they passed the 8 golden bridges, they arrived an hour later before a lofty palace. There, the second of the 4 pillars, Marshal Xuanji, was standing guard on the right side of the throne with dragon-slaying crescent blade in hand, while on the left was Prime Minister Zhuge Changfeng. The 2 looked at Luo clan, Xuanji in particular. Xuanji took a deep breath with a calm gaze as Zhuge Changfeng tended to his beard with a faint smile. With another loud shout, an old man in yellow gown entered their sight. His Majesty has arrived. The 8th Noble House Award ceremony was about to begin. Chapter 360 Best Steward Beneath Heaven. Chapter 360 Best Steward Beneath Heaven. Elite Coder. The man in yellow gown walked slowly towards the throne as the servants on either side followed with deep bows. He looked quite thin, but his bright eyes looked at everyone present, lingering ever so slightly longer on the Luo clan. This man was the current emperor of the Tianyu Empire. May your Majesty live a long and prosperous life. The instant he took his seat, the 8 groups bowed. The emperor waved. As everyone knows, I have called you all here today to bear witness and rejoice, by the grace of Tianyu's ancestors, to the rise of a new house in our empire. Tianyu has survived the past 1,000 years in no small part due to our 7 houses' assistance, bringing stability and prosperity, safeguarding peace along the ages. In all these years, the Imperial family dared not neglect its duty, looking for talents to defend the well-being of its people. That is the purpose of the esoteric debate, to see a clan rise up and make Tianyu great. I am sad to say that this has never happened. We are fortunate that the heavens finally took pity on us and my rule, and presented us with a new house, working alongside the 7 houses in strengthening our foundation. This is a blessing to myself, to the nation, and to everyone else. Congratulations, Your Majesty! The land shall grow even stronger. Everyone bowed. Luo clan did the same, with humility. We dare not accept Your Majesty's praise. Everyone present knew this was just a high-class act, and thus was shortly ignored. Even those who had never seen this new house knew that the 7 houses never stopped fighting among each other since the Empire's foundation. What working together! More like stabbing each other's backs. With the coming of the 8th house, the fights would only grow bitter. A prime example was the 2 houses duking it out at the ruler's gates while the emperor was saying all that. The empire was in fact on the verge of collapse, hanging by a thread. He didn't believe what he himself said, and neither did those people who were bowing. It was all make-believe. Despite all of this, neither side was about to unravel the white lie. These were appearances and decorum that had to be maintained, or poking holes in the paper-thin charade would lead to Tianyu going up in flames, something no one wanted. The emperor looked at them one more time and smiled. Praise heavens! The Imperial palace guards came forward and prepared the incense. The emperor bowed before it and even began reading a prayer. It was more or less being thankful to the heavens for the prosperity of Tianyu. While every paper was perused, an hour passed by and the rest rose up along with the emperor. He took his rightful place on the throne with traces of sweat on his brow, a clear indication that he was reaching the limit of his life. He knew that, yet he would still put on a cheerful face. Good, after we showed our respects to heaven and earth, we then have the Son of Heaven, which is myself. Luo clan's head, Luo Yunhai, stepped forward. Yes, Your Majesty. Luo Yunhai stepped down on one knee. Young Luo Yunhai, your father has been taken from you at an early age, yet with your bravery and resolve, you have led the clan forward alone. You have followed Marshal Dugu in battle, and showed marvelous skill in the esoteric debate. You are a true model of Tianyu's heroes. I bestow upon the Luo clan the title of the 8th noble house. Windgaze City shall be your domain along with the 100 cities around it. You shall be known as Regent of Prosperity, allowed to own a prince's manor in the imperial capital. Raising his head, Luo Yunhai was bug-eyed and so were the rest, looking at the emperor in disbelief. None of them expected for Luo Yunhai to actually become a nobleman and even have a title. Among the 7 houses, only Regent Estate had the Marquis title because they were related to the Imperial family, but Luo clan was a run-down third-rate clan, and it had just jumped in front of everyone with the title of Prince. Only Zhuge Chongfeng, Zhuofan and Ling Wuchang understood. The emperor wanted to place the Regent Estate and Luo clan on opposite fronts. Since the world couldn't hold both of them, so too the 8 houses could only have one boss. 2 kings was 1 king too many. The emperor's title came with vile intentions. Not that Zhuofan gave a hoot, since his sole plan for Regent Estate was to drag it out. And Regent Estate wasn't about to sway under the emperor's taunt. So when the tripartite division took shape, all those titles became empty words. On the contrary, the 100 cities offered made Zhuofan pleased as a punch. What was of greatest importance in the cultivation world? Resources. 100 cities included the mountain range close by and the tens of spirit mines and endless herbs it offered. And all of that was the house's private property. Adding to that a part of the empire as well, Luo clan would soar with so many resources. It would no longer need its allies' support. It had finally gained independence. This was why many clans wanted to curry favor with the houses. Without resources, they'd wither and die, and these resources were either the Empire's or the House's monopoly on the resources controlled Tianyu's clan's development. With Luo clan having 100 cities to its name, if the clans wanted to join it, they'd have to move to the border. Xuefan finally showed a twisted smile. 2 servants came before Luo Yunhai, offering him a golden cape, embroidered with a majestic dragon. It only missed the 4 claws, or it'd be just like the prince's. This was a symbol that showed the house was equal to the imperial family, not to mention Luo Yunhai was a regent. Thank you, your majesty. Luo Yunhai bowed. The emperor nodded and turned to his sister. Young Miss Luo, come forward. Luo Yunchang was stunned. A male would take on the mantle of clan head along with titles, so where was he going by calling her? Luo Yunchang still kneeled. May your majesty live a long and prosperous life. Luo Yunchang, dignified and virtuous, strong and loyal. After the misfortune that befell your clan, you held strong against all adversity, raising your little brother and guiding the clan. You are a model of virtue to all of Tianyu. I take you as my goddaughter, naming you Princess Yongning, and expect you to become a good sister with my daughter Yongning in safeguarding Tianyu. Luo Yunchang turned to Yongning hiding behind the princes, who stared blankly back at her. Neither expected that from the emperor. They were to be sisters. Your majesty, I would never. This is an imperial decree. The emperor cut her off with a stern face. Luo Yunchang sighed. Then, I shall accept. The emperor beamed and Luo Yunchang withdrew. Luo clan steward, Xuefan, stepped forth. When everyone thought the award ceremony was over, the emperor called one more time. Xuefan was puzzled. He was just a steward, not the Luo clan head. Why is he giving me something? But since the emperor decreed, he could only oblige and gave a half bow. May your. You dare not bow before his majesty. A sharp cry pierced the ears of everyone. Xuefan looked on with a frown at the servant next to the emperor and his face grew cold. You're the one with the nerve calling it to attention when the emperor said nothing, trying to kiss someone's ass. Do you think of yourself better than the emperor? No, his majesty. The servant panicked. They had always been next to the emperor and basked in second-hand glory, getting used to pushing others around. They were proxies dishing out the emperor's orders, but as long as the emperor didn't say anything, anything went. Perhaps they were even doing what his majesty intended, while other scared people never dared to refute in fear of the emperor's anger. But Xuefan was a tough nut to crack. Would the grand demonic emperor from the sacred domain kneel before a no-name emperor from the mortal domain? The servant was way out of his league messing with him, especially when he knew the emperor needed him and wouldn't sweat this particular detail. The emperor waved and smiled at Xuefan. Then, Xuefan, why do you not kneel? My knees are wounded. With your majesty's brilliant and wise character, I'm sure you won't pressure the future house's steward. Xuefan's words were a work of art. Throwing the emperor's words right back at him, in layman's terms, you just called us irreplaceable, in order to strengthen the nation's foundation. So why the hell would you nitpick? Only a poor ruler would do that. Won't that shame you? Won't you lose Tianyu's respect? Those words even contained a hint of threat. Luo Yunchang lowered her head, filled with worry and anger at Xuefan's crass act. Before the mighty emperor, you kneel when spoken to. What the hell are you doing looking for an early death? Offending the imperial family will give us a death sentence. She was unaware that this was a fine balance not even the emperor wished to break, since he didn't want to let Regent Estate come out on top. Hence Xuefan's leverage was very much real. Giving him a long look, the emperor smiled. You truly are a worthy steward for the Luo clan, Xuefan. Your reputation precedes you. Then, Xuefan will receive your title. The emperor coughed and shouted, Steward Xuefan of the Luo clan, you are a man of bravery and wisdom, holding your clan together through hard times, loyal and caring, a pillar of the empire. I bestow upon you the title Best Steward under Heavens, wielding the power of the 3 armies and the bearer of my authority. SSS. The people gasped in shock. Even Xuanji. Chapter 361 Emperor's Invite. Chapter 361 Emperor's Invite. Elite Coder. What did the best steward under heavens mean? His orders were second to the emperor in court, and he was the supreme commander of the three armies. He was literally beneath the emperor and above the world. He was the epitome of power, a prime minister and marshal in one, albeit with the emperor standing above him. Still, with how the imperial reign was built on this authority alone, it was no different than capitulating the very ground that was holding his throne. Xuanji's eyes twitched, looking at the emperor with a dumb look. Zhuge Changfeng was doing the same, albeit with a casual glance. The geezer's plan is obvious. He wants to give Xuanji a power even above that of the four pillars. As a prime minister, he had figured out the old schemer on the spot. The emperor wanted to balance the factions. His reign had been steady all these years because of Xuanji and me. But won't this trouble addict, who goes on withdrawal if he doesn't cause a mess once every 3 days, have all this power go to his head and blow everything sky high? Or maybe, Zhuge Changfeng squinted, scoffing inside, the old coot can't take it anymore. He wants to speed up the chaos by getting the monkey added incentive to do just that, and flip the board while he is at it. While Leng Wucheng tensed, his heart was resentful. He had already guessed what the emperor was up to, but that didn't mean he liked it. He was Regent Estate's steward, the one famed across the whole empire as unwanted contriver, yet for a neophyte to suddenly call himself best steward under heavens didn't sit quite right with him, to say the least, though Xuanji's deceit and shrewdness had him pensive. By right, that title should be his. Sunk into depression, Leng Wucheng took a deep breath twice to regain his cool. He looked at Xuanji with jealousy and greed. "Present the violet mantle." The emperor had spoken. A servant responded on point, presenting a plate with a purple cape and golden thread. The cape was unraveled, presenting a golden dragon with its 4 claws in the corners, while also a hint of a possible 5th claw. On a visibly empty pattern, the imperial family's robe was characterized by dragon claws. It was a symbol of their rank, authority and power. 4 made one a prince, while 5 lifted him to be the son of heaven, an emperor. This cape was proof that Xuanji was just shy of having the entire empire at his feet. Such controversy would never have stood, since it held a strong feeling of outrage and rebellion against the current court. Yet the emperor himself bestowed Xuanji with this contradiction. It went on to show that along with the best steward under heavens, Xuanji was truly beneath the emperor, in both name and power. Not even the 7 houses, princes, or even Crown Prince could compare. Crown Prince trembled and finally fell to one knee. "Imperial Father, this is most unbecoming. Please reconsider." The rest followed his example, shouting in unison, "Please reconsider, Your Majesty. I order you to stand down." The emperor's piercing cold tone sent shivers down their backs. They could not defy him. The emperor was the son of heaven. His word was solid gold. No man could sway his mind. They were all awakened to this simple yet painful truth, knowing any persuasion would fall on deaf ears. Without further ado, Xuanji was entitled as the first steward beneath heaven. His glorious radiance stabbing the eyes of all below, while also pricking no few hearts with discontent. Now that Xuanji had both power and right, any defiance would be ill-advised, in a manner of speaking. He could stick the imperial family's army on anyone's ass at the drop of a hat. Pill King Hall and Mary Woods exchanged a pained glance. They never gave Xuanji and Luo clan a second thought up till now, yet against fierce adversity they had become a behemoth. If only they'd known, they'd have it snuffed in its cradle. Regent Estate took this news quite well, too well, in fact. That was because they knew something everyone else didn't. Xuanji's title was totally void of authority. The emperor didn't stop at Xuanji's cape, showering the other high-value members of the Luo clan with a title each, albeit far lesser than the first 3. It was all so that the people would recognize who the Luo clan was, to open their beady eyes in the face of greatness and not step on their toes. Even still, there was one teeny-tiny matter that had everyone's dumbstruck faces on full display. While Pil King Hall and Drifting Flowers edifices were slack-jawed Luo clan's second elder, Pil House Elder, was vicious Pil King Yen Song. Even the emperor was taken aback. Didn't Xuefan waste him? What's he doing as Luo clan's elder? The emperor gave Xuefan a deep look. Steward Xue, you fooled the entire world for 8 years with your devious schemes. Just how many secrets are you hiding? Ha ha ha, please don't kid your majesty. With your majesty's astute mind, how could I possibly hide anything? Xuefan bowed. The emperor shook his head. He wouldn't be the emperor if he believed every outright lie. This kid's tricks are so twisted even I am getting a headache. With inconceivable matters cropping up one after another, fear crept within the emperor's heart. Without even realizing it, this pawn he nurtured for so long had outgrown his control. I hope this game will still play out. The emperor sighed inwardly. After 4 to 6 hours of dishing awards and titles, the ceremony came to a close. The emperor had the clans leave the Imperial palace, but not without a bow from them and a deep respect towards the Luo clan. This new house was budding, yet it was very much capable. It had both experts and alchemists. At the top of their fields, even their steward had surpassed the wisest steward of all, unwanted contriver, and became known as the best steward beneath heavens. A team such as this, excelling in power and management, was bound to hit it big. There were quite a number of clans entertaining the thought of bending a knee for the Luo clan after the ceremony that went double after seeing their ranks. Of the Luo clan's elders, Lei Yuntian was the weakest, yet a grand elder. Second elder Yen Song was even in front of those radiant stage experts. These two were a complete discrepancy for the powerhouses around them. That lineup was like a flare to the people. This told everyone that the Luo clan was an honorable clan. First come, first serve. Then again, one would always pick a true helper in favor of a poser. This had the clans competing to get into the Luo clan's graces, rather than see it played out first. Luo clan had it made, no doubt about it. Luo clan was also the only one who made such strong elders work, all made possible by the grace and power of their steward, Xuefan. Was there anyone among the elders who dared show discontent for their positions? To another clan, such a huge discrepancy in power would have ended up in infightings. Didn't might always make right? Yet in the Luo clan, that right was worth shit. Any and all that dared preach such an outdated philosophy were served a huge piece of humble pie on a silver platter. Xuefan, walk with me. Xuefan was leaving with the Luo clan when an aged voice called him. He turned to meet the emperor's steel gaze with a deep breath and a nod, as if expecting it. He went with the old man. The two arrived at a pavilion in the Imperial gardens. The emperor took a seat on a stone chair and invited him to do the same. This is where I and Mr. Sima play chess. Here we're simple people, without rank. Please, make yourself at home. With a raised eyebrow, Xuefan plopped his butt on the chair, then took a casual bite out of a fruit he picked from the platter. He really was at home. The servant at the side almost blew a gasket. That was His Majesty's courtesy, not for you to take it literally. Not even Mr. Sima, being friends with His Majesty for ages, would be so crass. Not that the emperor cared, smiling as a grandpa did for his doted grandson. Xuefan, I've heard so much about you, but this is our first meeting. The emperor smiled. Xuefan just nodded. The emperor laughed. I first heard of you from my third son. He said that Luo clan has a clever steward helping them, and that I needn't worry. Thus I supported this new clan. As for your ability, I never gave it a second thought. How strong can a third-rate broken-up clan's clever steward become? I mean, the scope was just so limited, it was impossible for it to grow. Wouldn't you agree? The emperor chatted as he looked at Xuefan with a smile. Xuefan gave a curt nod again. Sure enough, before meeting face to face, all information was about the clan itself. How one's view changed depended on one's position. Since no clan had ever come out of a border town like Wingay City, what scope, what ambition could this one have? Even he would jump to the same conclusion given the chance. He'd have the same disinterest in Luo clan and himself upon hearing of them. It was this lack of vigilance that made people like him be the ones in control. Or if Hell Valley or any other house focused on his clan, death was certain. Unable to grow into what it was today, there was no one to blame here. Hell Valley was not some fool to let the Luo clan slip through its fingers. It was Xuanji's uncanny mind to come up with some of the most insane and mystifying plans. Chapter 362, Paving the Way. Chapter 362, Paving the Way. Elite Coder. However, killing you geeky in Blue Expanse City gave me quite a shock. With a deep breath, the Emperor looked to the heavens, a faint smile traced across his face. The only thing on my mind in those days was how could the third mind of Tianyu, Hell Valley's schemer, die at the hands of a nobody. It was then that I began to take notice of you. I reckon I was among the minority who held you in such high regard. Xuanji secretly sighed. He planned to keep his head low back then, to build up his strength and avoid unwelcome scrutiny. But then Ninger showed up and the circumstances forced him to go all out. Then Hell Valley followed up with their kill order, harassing him on every step. Come to think of it, he wasn't all that level-headed as he believed, but a mindless savage charging through. But I liked the charge, so staunch, so invigorating. In reply to his thoughts, the Emperor patted his shoulder. You don't have to feel sorry, I understand. A patient man like you would never face such strong enemies so early. But as gold can't dull its radiance, or how a diamond can't hide among the sand, you too will meet with these events, whether you like it or not. Only your radiance is perhaps a bit too gaudy. Even I was almost blinded, ha ha ha. The Emperor continued. After my poor heart calmed down at last, months later, you pulled another one. You wrecked Drifting Flowers City and killed 3 house elders. That scared me. I wanted to build the Luo clan up to strike a balance, but you, the chick I had been raising, almost bit a wolf to death. You were close to ruining everything. I was wondering if renouncing your clan would be the better part of valor. Many apologies, Your Majesty. I was too reckless and almost wasted Your Majesty's hard work. I am ashamed of myself. Xuanji bowed slightly and cupped his hands, yet his mind was thinking the opposite. His words feel sincere, but lack any truth. He goes on and on about balance and stuff, but from today's attitude, he wants anything but. All he wants is chaos. The actions speak louder than any sweet words. Xuanji had drilled this lesson into Lei Yuding for years, being a devoted follower of this saying himself. Hence, in reply to the Emperor's convoluted speech, his mind was that of a mirror, not so easily pulled under. The Emperor's eyes shined with wisdom. Then he laughed, ha ha ha, it's fine. It's all in the past anyway. It was only then that I realized my son was right. You truly are a man of many talents. How else could you have incited so much chaos? And so, I came to a bold and radical decision. Do you know why I sent Marshal Dugu to Wingay City for rescue? I am moved to tears by Your Majesty's extreme favor for my Luo clan. Xuanji's bow was on point, shaking his head. The Emperor gave a vague smile. No, it wasn't for the Luo clan, but for you. I am shocked and dare not accept such praise. Ha ha ha, is there anything you won't dare to do? I wholly appreciate your strength. The next set of events only proved that my decision to send 1,000,000 soldiers in defense of one man was the right approach. You haven't let me down. He held Xuanji's shoulder, showering him in praise. Xuanji lowered his head. The Emperor squinted, watching, scrutinizing, and only now he came back to the main topic. Xuanji, I have called you here to come to an understanding between us. Command me, Your Majesty. Xuanji's bow came again. What do you think of becoming the Prime Minister? Shuddering, Xuanji was stunned inside, but he put on a quizzical face. Your Majesty, The empire already has Prime Minister Zhuge. Why? Ha ha ha, of the empire's 3 great minds, Yu only knew how to manipulate and scheme, a disgrace. Ling Wuchang has the talent, but a petty character that lacks any drive. Prime Minister Zhuge is the best candidate, holding his office for decades, his conduct exemplary. Only he is just like me, old. Once I'm gone, am I to just leave an old man behind as support, to drag his feet and the nation? It is not something I want to see, and I'm sure my successor would be in agreement as well. Quirking an eyebrow, Xuefan got the gist. The emperor wanted to pave the way for his son, the new emperor. As with any new emperor who took over the throne, their position will be shaky. With a wily old fox like Zhuge Changfeng around, with a cunning mind and wielder of power, the emperor's 3 sons would fall like flies. It would be an age of a weak ruler with strong followers. How could the Yuan clan ever hold on to Tianyu? Ha ha ha, it'll change hands of course. This was where Xuefan came in. He had no basis in the court, so even if a new emperor cropped up, the case would be that of a strong ruler and a weak follower. Him ending up as the new emperor's pawn on the other hand, Xuefan was more than capable of filling the job of handling national affairs. Getting a third-rate clan to become a house in a mere decade tended to give one just enough credibility, so when the emperor came up with this proposition, he took everything into account. Staring straight at him, the emperor spoke. Xuefan, I've seen the path you've taken to reach here. You are no weaker than Zhuge Changfeng, perhaps even better. At your age, he was but an ignorant bookworm. I believe you will surpass him in the future and become an even better leader of the 4 pillars. You becoming a prime minister will benefit the whole nation. I have made you the best steward beneath heavens, also you could guide Tianyu's future for me. The emperor's eyes were honest. Xuefan's eyes shook. He couldn't see through him, but one thing he did know. The emperor definitely had something else stored in his mind, and it was time to lay it out in the open. But your majesty, as you know, I have a dragon's soul. Being in court, won't I and the Imperial family collide? Xuefan was quite tactful, yet it held the same meaning as Huangpu Qintian back then. Providence made me king, yet you're not scared I'd take it all away? Ha ha ha. The emperor was calm. Dragon Vane's soul is a creature of the world. My family had it quelled for generations to safeguard Tianyu's prosperous future. By itself, it means nothing. Why else would we place Regent Estate as a guardian of caged Dragon City, yet be fearless of them taking the dragon souls for themselves and stealing our rule? Remind me again, who was it that killed Huangpu Qintian, the one calling himself heaven's gift upon this world? He who had a dragon's soul as well? Ha ha ha, destiny has always been in our own 2 hands. If posterity works hard and loves their nation, Tianyu will thrive, its people will be happy. But if an unruly successor is brash and decadent, how can Tianyu survive? Destiny, heaven, all are empty words. If I advocate such superstition, I wouldn't have needed to work myself to the bone over its future, now would I? Xuefan nodded. This emperor's words make damn perfect sense. Even he believed it. As what was cooking in the old head of this emperor, not even he knew in the end. Xuefan cupped his hands. Your Majesty, give me some time to consider. Sure, take all the time you need. Though I do hope you will serve your country and live up to the title I've bestowed upon you. The emperor gave a genial smile. Even Xuefan was slightly touched. If everything the emperor said today were lies, then he was no emperor but an evil spawn. Xuefan took his leave with a bow. The emperor watched him go with a peculiar smile. Whoosh. 2 old men appeared on his sides, Fang Qiubai and Sima Hui. After a customary bow, Sima Hui began, Your Majesty, the princess has returned safely. Yongning only knows how to make me worry. If not for Xuefan, God knows what would have happened to her. Sighing, he brightened. He sure was fond of this willful daughter of his. Fang Qiubai sighed. I had never dreamt Xuefan would reach such power in just a few days. I fear he has already surpassed us. What a little monster! Humph, why stop there? He is clearly like the peak radiant stage Zhuge Changfeng, versed in pen and the sword. The emperor squinted, then was taken by a coughing fit. Cough, bring me a quill and paper. Yes. The servant complied. At once the emperor wrote just a few big words on the paper, his sons' names. His eyes grew heavy looking at them, but they steeled in the end. Tell me everything that's happened, including the three's reactions. Yes. Fang Qiubai presented the whole affair at the 9 gates with intricate detail. The emperor grumbled to himself, then picked up a red quill and hovered over the crown prince's name. One must be collected, to have a way with words, to adhere to the ancestors' teachings. These are the qualities of a ruler, he said as he circled the name 3 times, yet sighed in the end. But why do I feel you're being so stubborn? You will tire the people, sigh. The emperor then crossed him out once and went to his second son's name to circle it twice. You are bold and benevolent, firm and ambitious, yet rude, rash and greedy. One day you will end up being used, humph. The emperor crossed him 3 times, his beard trembling in anger. He is not fit for power. Finally coming on to the 3rd name, he hesitated, yet only drew a question mark. Your Majesty, what? Fang Qiubai was stunned. The emperor spoke. I know you side with him, but my 3 sons need to be observed for longer. Especially the 3rd. I fail to comprehend him. Lest the road I've paved with so much sweat and blood will lead to the nation's collapse in the hands of a decadent successor, and I will never know rest. Sighing, the emperor grew sad. He hoped, no, wished there was one among his sons just half as shrewd as Xuefan. He would then pass on his title in peace. Chapter 363 Big Cheese. Chapter 363 Big Cheese. Elite Coder. Captain Peng, I am from the Jia clan of Westfall City. I've heard so much about the great Luo clan and wish to give my respects to the young regent. Please pass this message along. A youth in lavish clothes stood before a lofty gate as he made a deep bow to Pang Yi. He had just finished when a kick smacked his ass way out of bounds. A wretched man spat in contempt. Humph, another third-rate clan comes out of the woodworks to latch onto the Luo clan? Not on my watch. The man switched to an amiable face on the spot as he presented a vial to Pang Yi. He. I hail from the Bai clan of Cold Edge City. I only wish to have the fortune of serving the Luo clan. Please send my kind regards. This is a 5th-grade pill, Heaven Pill. It will assist you in entering the profound heaven stage. I'm sure you must find my meager goodwill laughable. Pa. Not before getting cut off with a resounding slap to the face, which sent him spinning 3 meters into the air with a swelling face. In his place was an upright and icy old man. Humph, by clan? Just some thieves under Hell Valley now wanting to get into the Regent of Prosperity's good graces. That's the same as letting a spy in. My humble self comes from Seashore City's Wang clan. I will never allow such a disgrace to foul my eyes. The old man walked forth aloof and self-important, flicking his sleeve and bearing only respect. I pledge my life to safeguard the Luo clan. I will make sure no bastard sets foot in. The old guy's act was cut short with a groan. He looked behind him to see a rough palm slam his chest. Captain Pang eyed him coldly, his smile wicked. Did I let you in? He put more force into his hand and threw the old guy a dozen meters. The old man crawled to his feet and started cursing. How can you resort to violence so easily? Attacking when you feel like it. I even helped you get rid of a spy. You mean that guy? Captain Pang mocked. What spy is he when we haven't even taken him in yet? The old guy was about to yap on, but the flood of people came from behind in waves. The crafty ones even kicked him for good measure, to lessen the competition. Damn geezer, don't take the high road with me for your own social climbing. Your Wang clan must really want to get in the Luo clan's graces to have come so early. Yeah, so stop blocking the way. We, the Fong clan, pledge ourselves as Luo clan's errand boys. We call dibs. Oh, Captain Pang, here is my clan's legacy, a 4th-grade spiritual weapon. Please pass this message to the regent. Pei, you call that a gift? The Luo clan, head of the 8 noble houses, uses them for toothpicks. Captain Pang, I present to you a genuine and uncontested 6th-grade heavenly treasure. I hope you could put in a few words for us to the young regent. In front of the huge building, people were coming from all around in droves, turning the entrance into a flea market. The plaque above the gate had Regent of Prosperity's compound written on it in bright gold. It was the place that the emperor bestowed upon Luo Yunhai in the imperial capital. By the way, it was also his current address, with the Luo clan receiving the greatest honor in the ceremony. Not that the power it displayed while sitting on the head of the 7 houses had anything to with it. They were, by right, uplifted to the rank of the head of the 8 houses. Hence, your run-of-the-mill Aravista clans rushed in like moths to the flame for a chance to serve under the new young regent, wanting their fame and power to rub off on them too, to bask in second-hand authority, to ride their coattails and to push other people around for a change. But with how a literal flood was at their gates and Xuefan had yet to return, Luo Yunchang dropped the headache on Captain Pang to stem the waterworks. Yet these guys didn't know when to quit, sticking around despite any harsh rebuttal, as if the only way forward was to be on the Luo clan's side. Captain Pang was laughing it up inside. He'd be touched if it happened when the Luo clan was in dire straits. But now, a humph, they're nothing more than selfish pricks. This is... A bewildered voice announced Xuefan's coming, guided here by an imperial servant. But the horde of people had him blank out for a second there. He got the drift the next second though, a sigh. The world is full of hypocrites. It's the best steward beneath heavens, Steward Xue. Someone noticed Xuefan and shrieked like a fangirl, setting him in the sights of the mob. Steward Xue, take us in. My clan is eternally loyal to yours. Steward Xue, forget about him. Take me. My clan is first-rate, an asset in battle. We'll charge the enemy alongside and will fulfill your orders to the letter. On and on it went as the human sea outdid itself in being first. They almost had Xuefan swallowed in the maelstrom. Their fanatic and crazed looks were burning his skin, face twitching. Xuefan's choice was for his right eye to flash golden and poof out of existence, divine eye of the void's first stage, shift, whoosh, and wink back into existence next to Captain Pang. Stop them, Xuefan said as he went inside. Captain Pang grinned. Not to worry. Not a single one will pass me. The crazed fan base saw their quarry gone from their sight and were bug-eyed. That Steward Xue's power. That's so awesome. Some girls swooned. Too cool. Xuefan, I want your babies. That gave the start to the second wave upon the Regent compound's gates. But old faithful Captain Pang barred their way as well. The wraith art had toughened him up more than enough to make sure not a single rat snuck in, leaving the crazed mob behind. Xuefan walked towards the gate. While still hearing their frantic calls, Luo clan was now the big cheese in town. From big to small, from court to independent officials, everyone looked at it with reverence. It had been his goal all along, and yet he couldn't stem the worry gnawing his mind. He knew the old adage well, after woe came weal, yet the opposite applied just the same. They were in vogue across the entire nation, close to being a national role model. But this fame could very well turn bleak very fast. I bet that old emperor can't wait for us to fall. Xuefan bore a cold smile. Too bad that the Luo clan has me as their steward. It will never conform to your wishes. You're not the only player on the national chessboard. I am as well. He stuck out his chest and strutted into the lounge. Besides the Luo siblings, there were some old friends waiting. His 3 allies. Xuefan, you're back at last. We've been waiting for ages. Luo Yunchang went ahead to welcome him with a sweet smile. Xuefan smiled back and greeted everyone with cupped hands. Forgive my late arrival. That old coot just kept running his mouth, forcing me to make you all wait. Ha ha ha. Long Yifi and the others were about to give a courteous reply, but the words got stuck in their throat across the whole of Tianyu. The only guy who had the balls to call the emperor an old coot would probably be him alone. His outstanding peers, Long Xingyun and Xie Tianshang, were there as well, but were sharp enough to keep quiet. They were still vexed whether Xuefan was still their peer. Sure, the age fits, but what about their levels? He's so awesome, going about doing this and that, not putting anyone in his eyes. So why is it that we have to be cautious all the time stuck behind him? Guess the fact that his current achievement was all done with his own 2 hands had something to do with it. While they had their house behind them, he had to carry himself, yet had still achieved the impossible. Such a gap couldn't be bridged. The thought had these young heroes fall into depression. God, all these comparisons are mortifying. Luo Yunchang looked off too, pinching him with all she had. Can't you be more considerate? Do you want to die defaming the emperor all the time? Don't tell me you're afraid of Pavilion Lord Long and the rest ratting on us. Xuefan giggled at them. The old guys shook their heads at once. How could we? Brother Xue, please don't joke. Xuefan eyed them. I am not one to pay attention to my tone, you know. But that doesn't make me a fool. At least I know how to choose my words. I only said that about the emperor, knowing fully well that you won't snitch. Like I said once, you've helped me over the last decade, and the Luo clan will become your strongest backer. The 10 years have yet to pass, but Luo clan has already become the only house capable of standing against the regent estate. If Luo clan falls, what about all of you? We are now roped together in this. There's no way for you to sell me out, so I trust you the most, am I right? Xuefan laughed, slowly devolving into a cackle. All while the oldies bobbed their heads. They felt quite awkward before this new house now that Luo clan was far above them, with a whole future ahead of it. They felt insecure, thinking they'd be thrown away like dead weights. This guy has done in 10 years what we couldn't in 1,000. Is there anything he can't do? All the more reason that these veterans, instead of having the same guts they showed before Regent Estate, made double sure to weigh every word and gesture before letting it out. That went double for Xuefan. It dawned on them that Xuefan's ever self-important reaction, his kingly air, was on a whole another level than even Huangpu Tianyuan or Leng Wuchang. Reading them like a book, Xuefan smiled. No need to be so tense, we're all old friends, having gone through thick and thin. Luo clan will never forget that. Unlike Regent Estate, you can feel safe with us. We won't turn on you once we reach the top. Oh, how come I don't see Edifice Lord Chu? To ease the tense mood, Xuefan switched topics, yet this question had grandmother and the rest sputtering, trying to find the right answer. Chapter 364 See Phantom Wing. Chapter 364 See Phantom Wing. Elite Coder. Did something happen? Xuefan's heart tightened. Grandmother shook her hands with a dry laugh. Ha ha ha, Steward Xue, she's fine. She's just in seclusion. Seclusion? The esoteric debate has ended and the strife of the 8 houses has begun. What's she, the house lord, doing goddamn secluding herself? His stare bore into grandmother's group, noticing their reactions were off. He knew something was up, but his questioning was cut off by the sudden booming voice of old Pang. Their Highnesses, the Crown Prince and Third Prince, have arrived. Startled, Long Yifi and the rest looked on curiously. The Crown Prince always abides by his ancestors' teachings and hardly ever visits the noble houses. Why is this time different? Openly disobeying the tradition and coming to the 8th house. Grandmother gave Xuefan a hard look and drew a conclusion. Either he must feel his position threatened and was forced to intervene, or the Luo clan must be so radiant that even the Grand Crown Prince has to bask in its glory. Scratching his nose, Xuefan's eyes flashed. I've seen him once and he left me with an impression. He sticks to ethics, treating everyone fair, but he does it all with a clear purpose in mind. He is subtle and sharp, and won't get himself dragged into the house's strife. He's more of an old fox watching the fire burn from the sidelines. Yet he took the initiative of coming here by himself, to get close to us. He has a clear objective in mind. As to what, we'll just have to wait and see." His allies nodded. Xuefan was cunning to the bone and calm even in this situation, earning their admiration. "Steward Xue, His Highness Crown Prince has come to pay the Luo house a social visit, but he is sure to want to discuss something secret as well. It's best if we take our leave first." Xie Xiaofeng said. Xuefan nodded, having Yan Fu lead them to another room. "Abode Lord Xie, you're so thoughtful." They left not a moment too soon, as in the next moment, someone with a bright and crisp laughter entered. "Ha ha ha, Imperial brother, Imperial sister, your prosperity compound is so lively. That crowd you have outside almost had even me blocked." Two golden men walked in with their attendants behind them. Crown Prince and Yuan Tsong. Xuefan snickered inside at the sight of the first. "He's good. The Emperor just made Luo House's siblings a regent and princess, and grabbing the excuse, he came out of the woodworks in an instant, thus making the two feel awkward about shooing him away. Though they had no reservations about the second guy, Xuefan turned to the ball of fat with a shake of his head, thinking back. Didn't the fatty drag him as well? These two are indeed related. Humph. "Please forgive my transgression of not coming out to welcome you, Your Highness." Luo Yunchang pulled her brother to bow before Yuan Bo. All while Xuefan was standing behind them, looking bored and with nothing particularly important to do. Crown Prince ignored this obvious rudeness, and instead helped the two up with a smile. "Please, we're all family now. You don't have to be so distant. Just call me elder brother." Luo Yunchang was startled. The siblings found him kind, amiable and modest. They were overwhelmed with gratitude, however. Xuefan's trained eye saw through the facade. He hadn't lived two lives for nothing. "Oh, Steward Xue, you sir have become the best steward beneath heavens as of today. You are in charge of all of Tianyu's affairs, beneath one man and above everyone else. Congratulations on having received such boundless glory. I know it is late, but please accept my acclaim." The Crown Prince went to Xuefan and made a solemn and perfect bow, a 90 degrees down angle. If he were any more modest, he'd be on his knees by now. Everyone was shocked at his modesty. That person bowing there was His Highness Crown Prince. The only ones to receive such respect were either the Emperor or the Four Pillars. The 7 House Lords were clearly exempt, yet here, he was giving Xuefan the greatest respect the Imperial family could offer. Everyone looking at them felt touched by the gesture, all but Xuefan, who wasn't buying any of that fake modesty, watched on with a cold eye and a curt nod. "Oh, I know. Next time be quicker about it." Blood almost spurted in waves as the people keeled over and laughed. It got a crack out of the bowing Crown Prince too. His face twitched and became red as a fireball. Yuan Tsong had the least control and cursed. "Brother, how can you step all over him? Elder brother offers you his sincere congratulations, and this is how you thank him? To be quicker about it? As if we're truly in the wrong here. He said he came late and asked for forgiveness. What, didn't I forgive him, and now I can't even chew him out for it? What more do you want?" Xuefan rolled his eyes. Blood was bound to flow if he kept this up. The fatty was so pissed that his lard and everything quaked. "You're nitpicking. Can't we ever get a simple polite greeting out of you? Don't think that I won't. Won't what, beat me up? Bring it." Xuefan snickered, flipping the fatty off and taunt. The fatty had smoke coming out of his ears. Oh, he wanted to put the prick in his place, but he was smart enough to know when he was outmatched, outclassed though not outweighed. And so, while he looked positively charging, he had one greasy hand, by chance or not, holding Crown Prince's hand in such a way as if the other guy was pulling him, and then shouted, "Elder brother, don't stop me. I will put this punk in his place for what he did to you." The Crown Prince's mouth twitched. "I see why the old third has become sworn brothers with Xuefan. Look at them. One has a flair for the dramatic, cocky and obnoxious, sticking his nose higher than the heavens even in front of me, the Crown Prince. The other is no better either. He's got no power yet still wants to play pretend, pulling me into his act while he's at it. These two are like two peas in a pod. A bromance made in heaven. Contrary to his thoughts, he knew Xuanji had the power to match the attitude. His only choice was to make friends with the guy. Thus he laughed, "Ha ha ha, Steward Xue is so fresh and reasonable. I truly admire you. Old Third, that was my sincere apology, and what Steward Xue said was right. You can't interfere. Humph, consider yourself lucky that the elder brother has let you off. Next time, humph." The fatty flicked his sleeve, speaking that line like second nature, all while being close to having a panic attack inside. "Oh, mommy, I'm free at last. If I had fought with that freak, my modest 400 kilograms fat would have been tenderized." Xuanji merely scoffed. They all returned to the lounge and sat. The Crown Prince clapped for his men to present his gift. Dozens of 8th grade ingredients and some 6-7th grade materials. These materials far outstripped even the diamond sand Xuanji once called a genuine treasure. Among them, sea phantom wings stood out, the wings of a 7th-level spiritual beast, Abyss Phantom Butterfly. The Abyss Phantom Butterfly was exceedingly rare, haunting the black depths of the largest seas. It was ethereal, expert in using illusions and swift in water. Not even a peak radiant stage expert could escape this creature's illusions, offering instead his soul for it to feast on, and these wings retained that special trait. These were far better than his former lightning wings, both in strength and attack. The higher in stage a cultivator progressed, the more he trained his soul, hence soul attacks were more sought after. The sea phantom wings were a nightmare for any radiant stage expert, or even higher. Eyes fixed on the Crown Prince's gift, Xuanji sighed. The Imperial family must have a sizable treasury amassed over 1,000 years for a mere Crown Prince to present such an invaluable gift. The Crown Prince noticed his look and nodded with a smile. "Steward Xue, I know you had lightning wings, but had come to lose them in the esoteric debate. Please kindly accept this gift I've prepared for you. Every reward is deserved. What does the Crown Prince wish for me to do in exchange?" Xuanji smiled. He was never a believer of free lunches. Shaking his head, Crown Prince showed a vague smile. "Steward Xue is a national hero, and the Luo clan is a national asset. I only wish for the two of us to work together for the safety of our empire. That is my humble request." "Humph, more like having us as your lackeys. Cut the slick act." Xuanji scoffed inside. The fatty urged, having long since exhausted what little patience he had, "Just accept the elder brother's goodwill. What's there to consider? Won't it help you strive harder for Tianyu? This is a natural responsibility of the Luo clan, now a crucial part of our nation." Glancing at him, Xuanji snickered, but nodded. He pegged the fatty as being on the Crown Prince's side for coming here together, but hearing him now changed his opinion. The Crown Prince wanted Luo clan to work with him, for him. As for national safety and such gimmick, that came second. But the fatty's dumb act, played out in ignorance, changed its content, making Luo clan working for Tianyu and thus accepting the gift fully deserving. The way it went, what looked like fatty helping Crown Prince was in fact helping Luo clan escape Crown Prince's clutches. Striving for Tianyu and siding with the Crown Prince weren't semantics, thus the Crown Prince's gift became a waste. The fatty was hiding himself. He is quite the shrewd guy. I wonder if the Crown Prince can read between the lines. Oh, he would be royally pissed if he could. Chapter 365 Parish. Chapter 365 Parish. Elite Coder. After a bit more chatting, the Crown Prince stood up and bowed before leaving. Xuanji actually enjoyed sending him off for a change, Beaming from ear to ear, he was brimming with smugness, thinking that Crown Prince had yet to find out that the fatty sold him out. Be that as it may, Xuefan thought that taking such a grand gift for nothing was a tad bit awkward, not like it was his fault. It was that tub of lard to blame for ruining his elder brother's masterful scheme, while Xuefan was off the hook. As for serving Tianyu, it was not a problem. Who's to say whom the future Tianyu belongs to? Snickering inside, Xuefan watched the princes leave, then came back inside more refreshed than ever. As for those two brothers, they didn't get more than a stick's toss away when Crown Prince cupped his hands. "Third brother, thank you for coming with me. Otherwise, it would have been impossible to make friends with the prideful steward Zhua, even if I came as the Crown Prince." "Don't be like that, elder brother. We are close, you and I. Of course I'll help you out." The fatty slapped his flabby chest, shouting his bromance, yet in the next second, his beady eyes turned shifty. "Elder brother, weren't you always against us getting close to the houses? Then why?" Crown Prince sighed. "You must think that I am going against the Imperial Father's decree by doing this, correct? Only, sigh, the Imperial Father has been going down on his years, and his handling of court falls shorter from one year to the next. With the Luo clan and Regent estate being like fire and water, it will be dangerously easy for Tianyu to fall into chaos and wreck the Imperial Father's poor heart from anxiety. As his son, I must set things right. That is why I wanted to get close to the rising Luo clan, so that I may mediate in the most dire moments and bring balance to Tianyu. Oh, elder brother is so considerate towards the people and father. I am in awe." Yuan Song cupped his hands, putting on a face of adoration. "Elder brother, just say the word and I will fulfill any request you may have to my full capabilities. This is the only thing I can do to share the load you and father carry." Nodding, the Crown Prince patted his shoulder. "Third brother, I thank you for your good intentions. If only our second brother had a fraction of your kindness, I believe we brothers could do it. If we work as one, nothing is impossible. A shame. Elder brother, lighten up. Second brother will one day understand your toil." The fatty gripped Crown Prince's hand, watching him with a heavy gaze. Crown Prince had a thin smile. "I can only hope. Third brother, I still have documents to handle for father in the Imperial Palace. I'll be going." Crown Prince glanced at the sky and cupped his hands. The fatty replied in kind. "Thank you for your hard work, elder brother. Goodbye." Then he took his men and went in another direction, watching the ball of flesh wiggle away in the sun's glorious rays. The Crown Prince had a smile on his face. But once the pile of meat took a turn, his face sank, his eyes exploding with revulsion and hatred unlike any before. "That damn lardass talks too much." He took out a spotless hanky and wiped his hand the fatty had grabbed, then threw it away. Then he left with his own detail, towards the gloom of a dark alley where three people waited. "Greetings, Prime Minister Zhuge." Crown Prince bowed. They were Prime Minister Zhuge Chongfeng and his two elders. Zhuge Chongfeng smiled. "Your Highness, by your confident gaze, I believe the plan was a success." "Of sorts, however, Xuefan is a highfalutin, leaving me with anger but nowhere to vent." Crown Prince grimaced. Zhuge Chongfeng laughed. "Your Highness, please bear it. Xuefan is a prideful youngster who has yet to experience true failure. Even Ling Wuchang suffered at his hands. His pride is warranted. This is just how people with talent are. But will this cocky man one day take your position and become Prime Minister?" Crown Prince frowned in disbelief. Zhuge Chongfeng nodded. "You heard it yourself, how the Emperor bestowed him the best steward beneath heaven's title. And what does that mean? Becoming Prime Minister. His Majesty is paving the way, a capable official for the new Emperor. Xuefan may be unorthodox and crass in his methods, unlike me, but we are the same in one aspect. We are more than qualified to be the Prime Minister." "I understand, Prime Minister Zhuge." Crown Prince nodded, but a dark cloud still loomed over his face. "But I just can't stand Xuefan's attitude. Just thinking how I'll tangle with him day after day once I'm crowned is infuriating. Zhuge Changfeng had a look of ridicule for him. Your Highness need not worry about this for now. Perhaps you won't even get the chance. Crown Prince shook like a quiver as he cried, What are you implying? Nothing. Just a guess about His Majesty's thoughts, ha ha ha. Zhuge Changfeng's eyes flashed. Every ruler plays favorites, leaving to his successor the people he wants. This goes double for the officials. Some will be demoted, others promoted, all to win the people's hearts. Yet this time, His Majesty has decided to forego this and settle on the next Prime Minister candidate. Now why do you think he did that? Crown Prince shook his head. Bewildered Zhuge Changfeng resumed with a hidden gaze of contempt. If the officials are chosen before the ruler, this can only mean one thing. His Majesty is yet to decide who among you three is to be the successor. Put another way, anyone would do with Xuefan at his side. Your Highness, don't put too much stock in your Crown Prince status, when it gives no advantage whatsoever in the power struggle. Ha ha ha. How can this be? Crown Prince shuddered 2 steps back. Now do you see why I suggested getting close to Xuefan? The official decides the emperor. Since any one of you three will do, it will all come down to who fits this stuck-up future Grand Chancellor best. This shall decide who among you is destined to be emperor. Zhuge Changfeng sneered at the stumped Crown Prince. In case your Highness and Xuefan can't exactly rub shoulders, you might as well give up on the throne. Being a regent isn't all that bad either. No! Crown Prince shouted his defiance. Prime Minister Zhuge, thank you for telling me. Now I know what I must do. He took his men and left in a haze. The sweat had seeped into his back, and the golden tunic stuck to him. Zhuge Changfeng was mighty pleased watching the staggering figure leave. The black-haired elder spoke. Sir, are you really helping him take the throne? Helping? Humph, I'm not so bored as to get his dowry for him. Zhuge Changfeng snickered. I'm only praising the Luo clan so much because of this tripartite stalemate plan. Have the tigers tear each other apart while he reaps the benefits. But does he think I'll just stand by and let him do that? I will entangle the Imperial family into this mess and jumble the board so much he won't be able to tell left from right. Ha ha ha, since he wants chaos, I'll give him a helping hand and raise hell. We'll just have to wait and see who will be the true reaper in the end. The 2 elders praised. The Prime Minister is brilliant. Meanwhile, Xuefan went back to the lounge, dodging past Long Yifei and company. Long Yifei sighed at the gone princes. Crown Prince, a man of such impeccable conduct, is looking for a faction as well. The Imperial capital isn't as calm as the surface. The others nodded. These guys all had decades behind them and could sniff out any undercurrent. Xuefan agreed as well, but wasn't worried. With the Luo clan growing day by day and on the initiative, who could rein them in when they were in constant transformation? Steward Zhua, someone has come with an invitation. Captain Pang ran over. Xuefan glanced at it, and at the sight of the second prince's name, he laughed. I just sent away the Crown Prince, and the second one comes right after. The second prince is filled with wild ambitions, always discussing with the houses in secret. But everyone looked down on him, until recently, when he got tangled with Hell Valley. To vie for the throne, I presume. Grandmother urged, Steward Zhua, you'd best avoid getting into the Imperial family's affairs, lest you incite trouble. Humph, I fear no trouble. But what does this second prince think he is, that he can just ask me to visit him? Even the Crown Prince paid yours truly a visit. Xuefan ripped the invitation in disdain. The others flushed with shame. Steward Zhua has nerves of steel. Coming to such a decision with such a reasoning. While they were weighing the pros and cons, and how to ease up on refusing the guy, Xuefan, on his high horse as he always was, never failed to look the part of the egotistical boss. Checking the second invitation, Xuefan read, Parish. The third pillar, demigod Yun Xuanji. Narrowing his eyes, Xuefan pondered. Now that he thought about it, he had yet to pay this 1,000-year-old mystifying clan a visit. And here it was knocking on his door. Chapter 366, Xuanji. Chapter 366, Xuanji. Elite Coder. Yun clan, the most secretive clan since the founding of Tianyu. It was not like the 7 noble houses, guarding the borders, but a clan every emperor had relied heavily on. This clan had mastered an amazing and strange skill. In every generation, there would be one person who knew how to read the heavens, a sacred bloodline that could infer the fate of the nation. This bloodline didn't offer them power, but allowed them to look into a person's fate, and the empire's path. With ultimate precision their eyes saw the world, so to speak. They gleaned fate through signs unperceived by others and presented the emperor with the most accurate conclusion. This person was called High Priest in every generation, a title the emperor bestowed. Rumor had it that in the Tianyu Empire's most dire need, the High Priest was the one to recommend Dugu Zhantian for marshal and Zhuge Changfeng for minister to the emperor. This led to the powerful 4 pillars of today, bringing prosperity to the nation. The current high priest was the 7th clan head of the Yun clan, the one they called demigod Yun Xuanji. Xuefan mulled it over. They say Yun Xuanji doesn't care about mundane affairs, so how come he knows about me? Steward Zhua, he is an incredible man. Since he has invited you, he must want to convey something of dire importance. You have to go. Grandmother spoke after seeing the invitation. Raising an eyebrow, Xuefan eyed her, then the rest. You guys are quite respectful of Yun Xuanji. Is he that trustworthy? Absolutely. Yun Xuanji is an anomaly in Tianyu. Be it the emperor, Zhuge Changfeng, Dugu Zhantian, or the 7 houses, everyone would knock on his door whenever they faced something beyond their understanding. And he answers each time. I once visited Sir myself, and his words brought light to my eyes. Long Yifi smiled, recalling the fond memory. It only worked to get Xuefan more curious. How is it that the emperor leaves this threat, a mystic whose words shape the nation and even lead the houses, alive? Xuefan was clear on one thing. Chaos bred heroes while peace killed mystics. The world was perfect, peaceful and safe. But your sudden scrying and spouting of the world falling into chaos, with anyone vying for the throne, will shake the empire to its core. No? This led to those mystics raving about some monarch founding a nation to be the first put down after the nation was up and running. To prevent calamity, no one wanted for others to use their words and steal their throne. One other reason why Xuefan had such disdain for anything related to heaven, providence, and the like. Huangpu Qingtian wouldn't shut up about it. He laughed in his face, of course, labeling him as another duped moron in his mind. But now, the Yun clan had not only developed this art to perfection, it even had authority. Men, friends and enemies alike, paid social visits for answers to their problems. It was a clear violation to the Imperial family, yet the emperor never once snuffed it out, but kept it close for 1,000 years. This was more than baffling. Insane. Even the house lords burst out laughing at his conundrum. Ha ha ha, Steward Zhua, what you don't know is that the Yun clan has never shied away from the straight and narrow. It treats everyone as guests, yet never holds favorites. It never involves itself in court affairs, taking neutral ground and never crossing the line, the only reason the Imperial family's fears were abated. Unlike any other mystic, Yun clan has an ancestral teaching. The walks of life are numerous, heaven ever-changing and humanity's wisdom boundless. Xie Xiaofeng grinned. Xuefan pondered, but shook his head in the end. Isn't that the same as saying, at the end of it all you have only yourself to rely on? That's just it. His words guide you on your path. As for succeeding, it all comes down to you. This is what makes the Yun clan incredible. Long Yifi laughed. Xuefan's eye twitched. Well, I think he is a hustler. To juggle so many big shots sure takes skill. I'm looking forward to meeting him. Who knows, I may learn a thing or two on how to use you guys better. He even better. If you can learn anything, we'll be coming to you for guidance, ha ha ha. Everyone burst out laughing. Xuanfan's hand holding the card shook, but his eyes were focused. He called Yun Clan a mystic, but he was more than clear that for the Emperor and Zhuge Changfeng to show utmost respect towards it, it had to be more than that. I have to visit them. He cupped his hands and took his leave, heading for Parish. It took 15 minutes to arrive before a huge gate. Parish was written above it, but unlike its glorious name as a third pillar, it looked downright poor. The Yun clan is truly honest despite the 1,000-year-long fame. Nodding, Xuanfan knocked. The heavy gate creaked open, and a 9-year-old kid walked out. Giving Xuanfan a once-over, he bowed in respect. May I know who Sir is and your purpose? A merchant. I heard of the high priest's scrying and wished to consult him. Xuanfan found discretion was the better part of valor, so he chose to probe the unknown kid. The kid frowned and counted on his fingers before bowing in apology. Forgive me, but clan head is tending to an important guest these 3 days and can't receive you. You may come afterward. Let me make you a reservation. Xuanfan regarded the kid deeply and nodded inside. Yun clan sure is fair. So lofty yet hearing the people's needs. Even their kid is polite. At the very least, it knows how to raise their clansmen. If it were the Luo clan's guards meeting some nobody wishing to see the great Steward Zhua, he'd have been slapped silly rather than waste words. Yun clan advocated virtue, a stark contrast from your common mystic. Ha ha ha, child, I won't tease you any more. I have received an invitation. Here. Pinching the cutie's cheeks, Xuanfan laughed. The kid lit up and bowed. Oh, best steward beneath heavens, forgive me for not recognizing you, Sir Zhua. Clan head has long been expecting you. The kid led the way, with Xuanfan smiling behind. They passed many water pavilions, and stopped before a large structure. Looking up, Xuanfan found it to be 100 meters tall, at the least. Here is the parish's observatory. Clan head is currently tending to a guest. Please wait here while I inform him. The child bowed again. Xuanfan nodded and the child left. 15 minutes later, Xuanfan's eyes roamed all over the place, bored out of his mind, when he heard angry and rough shouts. Why are they so familiar? Going around the observatory and onward, he arrived at a house. The child from before was now kneeling in front with a lowered head. Did he wait here, not wanting to disturb the clan head? Sir Zhua, the child noticed him and cried out. Xuanfan only gestured for him to be silent. Then, to the child's shock, he tiptoed over and peeked through the seams of the door. He was dying to know who Yun Xuanji was seeing. He got the shock of his life. There were 3 people inside. One was a sitting grizzled old man with closed eyes and impeccable conduct. He was assumed to be High Priest Yun Xuanji. As for the other 2, Xuanfan was more than familiar with them. Huangpu Tianyuan and Ling Wuchang. Huangpu Tianyuan was the one raving. High Priest, your scrying has never failed, so why is it this time that it is completely different? Indeed. I can infer human minds, but not heaven's will. Something I admire the High Priest for. Ling Wuchang cupped his hands. But this time, I am unable to readily accept the High Priest's error. 20 years ago you told us that the eldest young master is fit to rule, that it was a wonderful omen. But now... Yun Xuanji nodded and sighed. Indeed, your eldest young master had the rare earth dragon disposition. He needed to pass 3 tribulations and his future would have been limitless. What tribulations? Huangpu Tianyuan spat. Yun Xuanji not once opened his eyes. These 3 were a part of heaven's plan I dare not divulge. But since he had come to pass, it no longer applies. They are heaven's will, Father and Son and Sin. Which of them was Xuanfan? Ling Wuchang asked. Yun Xuanji shook his head. Neither. Then why say there were 3? Aren't they clearly 4? It was even one that took his life. Huangpu Tianyuan boomed. Yun Xuanji was a bastion of tranquility in the face of a storm. Heaven is ever-changing, though some movements can be tracked. With a human having 3,000 paths to choose from, his life can take a myriad of turns. But your dear son's tragic loss is a true accident. Xuanji was holding his mouth for his dear life. He was more and more sure this Xuanji guy was a hustler through and through. Who the hell would say an expert like Huangpu Qingtian's death was an oopsie? Huangpu Tianyuan and Ling Wuchang twitched. It was a first time hearing such a word from Xuanji. He used to drone on about fate working in mysterious ways, some kind of elegant and convoluted explanation that had them all bow in admiration of the infallible truth it held, but this time, he offered no such thing, writing it all off as an accident. Is he trying to give Parish a bad name? Chapter 367, You Should Be Dead. Chapter 367, You Should Be Dead. Elite Coder. Face twitching, Huangpu Tianyuan clenched his fists and felt a sudden, totally understandable, urge to deck the old man. High Priest, haven't you always preached that no life is by accident? That heaven has decreed everything? Even if a mistake happens, it is only a fork in the road that is fate. Aren't you the one mistaken then? Why is it that when it comes to Qingtian's turn, it's an accident? One's path is impermanent, heaven ever shifting, and of the world's myriad creatures, no one can escape their destiny. With how the world has 8 gates, opening, torpor, life, harm, impediment, spectacle, shock, death, to enter the gate of life is to be alive, to enter the gate of death is to die, to enter the gate of torpor is to lag in lethargy and be in a slur, to enter the gate of spectacle is to have a bright future. But in any case, it always revolves around taking one of the 8 gates, never outside them. Thus one can't escape their destiny. Xuanji took a deep breath. After speaking of how mysteries had intricacies and intricacies had mysteries, he sighed. However, as there are myriads of living beings, an anomaly is bound to appear. There comes a time when a singular man stands outside heaven's control. Huangpu Tianyuan's eyes twitched, clueless where he was going with this rant. Ling Wuchang, however, did get it. You mean to say Xuanji isn't part of heaven's schedule? Huangpu Tianyuan snapped his stunned eyes on Ling Wuchang. What does that mean? Xuanji never elaborated, resuming after a long pregnant pause. We shall stop here. I have spoken too much already. You are now on your own. Show yourselves out. This coot's kicking his guests out. Huangpu Tianyuan choked, and a blazing fire scorched his heart. He really wanted to thrash this geezer. Not making a word of sense, and now he was giving them the boot? The two's minds went out of commission for a second there. Ling Wuchang was the first to act though, stopping his lord's assault on the defenseless old man and bowing. Thank you, High Priest, for your counsel. I understand fully, and we shall now take our leave. We shall come again another time. Hey Sir Ling, understand what? I didn't get anything out of that rant. Huangpu Tianyuan roared. Ling Wuchang waved. Estate Lord, let's go. The High Priest has already given us clear advice. Xuanji is an anomaly, neither friend nor foe. He has nothing to do with us. You're calling all that nothing? He has killed so many of our people, and you want to just forget about revenge? Huangpu Tianyuan watched Ling Wuchang in shock. Why is Sir Ling speaking in riddles like this, coot? Ling Wuchang merely pulled him outside. Estate Lord, I will explain everything when we get back. Rumble. Ling Wuchang opened the door only to bump into the peeping Tom. He cried, Xuanji, what are you doing here? A total coincidence. Ha ha ha, just like you came to ask how to deal with me, I've also come to High Priest for pointers on what's the best way to get rid of you guys. Xuanji taunted with a snicker, though, isn't it funny how we both visit the same person for our problems? Humph, ignorant whelp, Parish has stood tall for 1,000 years, above mundane affairs. And they won't start doing it now for a measly conflict. They are merely here to point out our path and clarify our purpose. Ling Wuchang put on a cold smile. Besides, now that I fully understand our circumstances, Luo clan may be evolving day by day, but it will be at the heart of chaos. Attack us and both our houses will fall, leaving others to reap the benefit. Intellectuals like you and me aren't dumb enough to choose this path. Xuefan gave him a deep look and nodded, right on. But understand this, who was it that kept backing off in front of the Imperial palace? Shuddering, Leng Wuchang clenched his fists. It was the greatest humiliation of his life to be pushed around by Xuefan. Ha ha ha, Sir Ling, you know you can't beat me, yet you are also scared to face me. It must be, Xuefan snickered, his finger pointing at his heart. Here is where you fall short. You don't have my drive, just a mere counselor unable to achieve anything noteworthy. Ha ha ha. The mockery was jarring to Leng Wuchang's ears. His eyes bloodshot, his fingers digging into his palms, unable to hold himself back from trembling. It was a naked taunt and scorn, but all he could do was bear with it. They couldn't face Xuefan as he was now, he was too strong. Besides the fact that he was now one of the big players in the grand scheme of things. They were not about to throw caution into the wind over this little hiccup. The kneeling child was stumped, living his whole life in the parish. All he had ever met were respectful and courteous people, even if hypocritical in other words. This child had only seen the light of the world, and never its black and foul darkness. Today was the day when he got exposed to humanity's most morbid side. Xuefan hardly needed lengthy speeches to poke at Leng Wuchang. Those few words contained more than enough unbridled malice that he would appear to be like a hellhound out for blood. And each word shocked the poor child's naive heart more than the last. He was afraid. So this is the corruptive darkness that courses through outsiders' veins. Xuanji sighed with his eyes closed. Leng Wuchang took long breaths to calm down somewhat. He refrained from talking back and instead pulled an enraged Huangpu Tianyuan. Estate Lord, let's go. Xuefan watched them leave with a grin, then turned to the dumbstruck kid, patting his shoulder with a snicker. Sonny, see that? Look how those guys left bleak and despondent before yours truly. Am I cool or what? The child was too shocked to speak. Steward Zhua, please refrain from corrupting my disciple. High Priest finally opened his deep eyes with a casual shrug. Xuefan grinned, pinching the kid's cheek again before going in. After that peeping fiasco, he was rid of all respect he ever had for High Priest, thinking, just a hustler. And since he was a mere peak profound heaven expert, he had lost all interest too. Sprawling in his seat and drumming the table, Xuefan said, So, why did the High Priest call me over? Looking at him for a long 15 minutes, Xuanji nodded. As I suspected, Steward Zhua is a man among men. Stuff it. If I'd been any more normal, I'd be dead. Now why did you invite me? Xuefan slapped the table with a scoff. He shot to his feet, heading for the door. If you're all out of shticks to convince me, then see ya. And don't try that fate stuff with me. It won't work, nor can I understand it. Do us both a favor and save it. Xuefan left with a sneer. Xuanji only spoke as he was about to take the first step outside. You should be dead. Rumble. Xuefan froze with his leg in the air. His eyes filled with shock. Xuanji cut into him quickly. He did die once already. Be it Luo clan's servant, Xuefan, or Sacred Domain's demonic emperor, Zhui Yifan, they had both died. Xuefan was the demonic emperor's resentment, borrowing this servant's body to be reborn. He still had the case of identity disorder. Was he Zhui Yifan or Xuefan? Through the use of 9 Serenity's secret records, out of 2 deaths, a life was born. This was his greatest secret. So how did the old coot figure him out in a glance? Creaking his head back, Xuefan frowned. He now noticed the abyss in the old man's eyes, hiding a faint flicker of light, like the night's furthest star. Are the rumors true? Yun clan's clan heads have eyes that can pierce one's fate? This is out of this world. Not even Sacred Domain's emperors can train in such a mystical art. More importantly, is this world dominated by fate? Xuefan was a stubborn skeptic when it came to anything remotely sounding of fate, but now, he was forced to give it a second thought. Swallowing dryly, Xuefan looked heavily at him. Just who are you? Where does the Yun clan come from? He refused to believe that the mortal domain housed such an unimaginable clan. He's a branch of the Xing clan. He has to be. Yun Xuanji had a puzzled look. Steward Zhua, what are you saying? Yun clan has always lived in seclusion, being weak at fighting. At the founding of Tianyu we were asked to come out of obscurity and have been treated as its parish ever since. To answer your question of where we come from, I can only reply with Tianyu. Xuefan was thrown in a loop now. Can a clan of such incredible skill have such bland origins? Or have they lived for so long that they forgot about their own history? Xuefan had a faint smile on and shamelessly plopped back in his seat. High Priest, please don't mind my previous outburst. So, where were we? It's been ages since I had such a refreshing chat with someone, ha ha ha. Yun Xuanji's face twitched and he laughed to himself. Steward Zhua, your reputation precedes you. Flexible, knowing no shame, and quite like myself back in the day. High Priest, are you patronizing me, or mocking yourself? Xuefan felt awkward. High Priest shook his head. We've all been young once. But now, at my age, this seat is different from how I saw it then. So I wish to have a talk with Steward Zhua, giving our all for a better tomorrow. You're tuning in to the Phoenix Knights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.